Another day, another step closer to Championship Sunday. And actually, the final step before we make it to Ginásio de Ibirapuera on the other side of Sao Paulo. Hello and welcome to our studio here live from SI24 in, again, beautiful Sao Paulo, Brazil. I'm El Stamatic, your host. With me are two wonderful gentlemen, Fabian and Fresh, three-time invitational winners.
Between
the two of them.
Between us.
Yep. Gentlemen, yesterday was an absolute slaughter in many ways. We've had to eliminate so many teams yesterday, and we're going to talk about that. That's kind of the top of our show for today. But first, let's introduce what we've gone through so far. This is the last day of playoffs, which means we've gone from group stage with 20 teams arriving at the Invitational, 16 teams that have entered playoffs on Monday, and today, with only 8 teams left, we'll be down to 6 to head into the actual championship weekend in Sao Paulo. FaZe Soniqs, here's our schedule. By the way, FaZe versus Soniqs, Space Station versus W7M will be played on A stream. Dark Zero versus Pro, G2 versus Team Bliss will be on B. This is the final day where we'll have 2 streams, A and B. So take that for your knowledge. Once we head into the main arena, there will only be one singular stream to be watching from our schedule. We'll move on to our bracket. Up next, we had Explosive Games Elimination Day was day 2 of playoffs. Now we're left with, as I said, Soniqs versus FaZe, Dark Zero and Virtus.pro in the upper bracket. They are guaranteed to be playing on the main stage. So hallelujah, we have a Brazilian team in front of a Brazilian crowd. Great time. However, the second remaining Brazilian team is W7M. They'll be playing against Space Station Gaming. They'll have to beat Space Station in order to qualify for that main event slot, with Bliss and G2 also fighting for this position. APAC, we talked about them, and we saw the videos from the Australian talent here that were just jumping up and down in celebration with Bliss and Bleed prior to that. It's been a great day, but with a lot of glee comes a bit of sadness. It has to be a bit of both. And there we say goodbye to 8 squads. First 4, FearX, Lost, Falcons, and Fury. And our next ones, NIP, Bleed, Liquid, and Wolves. And now I can end my monologue, so I can actually finally ask my analysts, what about these squads? What can all of them learn from their invitational run?
I mean, I think that they made it as far as they were expected. The only real upset we have so far, and the underdog story, if you want to support a team you probably haven't supported before, is Bliss. Bliss probably, or in my expectations at least, would have gone out a little bit earlier. But other teams, I feel like they kind of slotted in quite logically.
I think so, maybe apart from Brazil. That's the only thing that I would say. If you look at the Brazilian teams, you're looking at NIP, main stage of majors, Lost, we're obviously in the grand final of the Atlanta major, Liquid, grand final of Copenhagen major. Like, these are teams that shouldn't be going out very first, opportunity that they get, and they did. Obviously, there are now only 2 Brazilian teams left. If things go wrong today, we could only have 1.
If I'm not mistaken, 5 teams, a quarter of the squads that came into Invitational 2024 came from Brazil, which is huge. Now that we are only down to 2 of them, it seems like the stress of playing here has really come to them.
Something has happened to them, and I think both NIP and Liquid haven't played as good of gameplay as we expected of them coming in. I think I had Liquid as one of my favorites to maybe not win the event, but at least go to main stage, just because of the experience they have, how talented their roster actually is. So it's a bit of a surprise.
The history goes that a Brazilian team has never won an international tournament, no matter the video game.
Yes.
That is in Brazil.
Yeah.
So
history is not on their side.
No.
But what I will say is, as much as we did lose a lot of teams yesterday, the 2 that they have left are probably the best 2 teams in Brazil, maybe even in the world, other than G2.
You know, they are actually quite lucky. Because last time we were here, I won that event. So that means that because I'm not playing, they actually stand a chance to win one at this point.
Yeah, but
so honestly, they should thank me.
Remember the story, we're not going to do that, but remember that the story back then was that FaZe forgot how to do the bans they've been doing throughout the entire
but
tournament.
You can always lie.
Fair enough. I mean, that's pretty much what I gathered from it. Anyways, let's move on to our first matchup of the day. Of course, we'll have 2 on each of our streams. And this one, I'm really looking forward to it. FaZe Clan versus Soniqs. You'll see some stats. There they are. You'll see the screen with stats on it. And just to let you know, this is the average stat of EPS cost, attack win rate, and defend win rate for the 2 squads up against one another. General thoughts, Fresh?
Very quick. This match is the #1 attack and defense on the side of Soniqs against the #6 attack defense on the side of FaZe. Very consistent, both of these teams in the numbers. FaZe 6th best, Soniqs are the best in the tournament so far, at both attack and defense.
I just think it's going to be a amazing matchup. FaZe has been one of my favorites to win the event, and I think Soniqs have shown that they are going to be taken seriously to that degree that they could also be the winner that walks out of this event.
Then let's talk about Soniqs. Big NA representation. We put them up on the screen for you. Again, those stats at SI 2024. This has been their average through this entire squad. And it seems like they've been better than ever, Fabian.
Yeah, they have such a well-rounded roster right now. It's actually incredible to watch them play. Like, Gio brings all this experience together with, well, Citizen, Grixer, and Rexen. They all have been around for a long time now. They're very, very talented mechanically, but something seems to be clicking really well right now. We do have our thoughts about it, and we have our explanations, but I think we've never seen a better Soniqs than this.
Yeah, I think they've been kind of hitting their heads against the wall with who that fifth piece of that puzzle was going to be for pretty much a long time. Obviously, they thought it might have ended up being Gunnar, and I know Gunnar ended up in lots of different roles and responsibilities. They've now got Ambi, and Ambi looks like he is the final piece of that picture. And the reason is they've brought him in and they've made him that primary entry. His main operator, as we see him on the head-to-head, is the Thinker. Him being the primary entry allows Rexen to be the second entry, which allows Citizen to play in more of his lurk kind of role that he's known for. And I think that really completes the team. It makes them all in comfortable roles. Everything makes sense. And the reason we wanted to put this head-to-head up together is these two have such an incredible bromance going on so far at the event. Citizen's kind of taken Ambi under his wing, and Ambi's success is directly linked and relevant to Citizen's success, and Citizen is currently the MVP of the tournament.
So you're telling me Ambi's doing well and enabling Citizen to get the plus 50 that he has on the board?
I mean, it's not only that, but it's like when Ben feels comfortable and he has a goal with what he's doing, he's such a good teammate to have around, because he really puts his all into it. I'm not saying that he doesn't do it normally, but when he has this extra, well, friendship, and he has the, I would say, like a little bit of a bigger brother role that he has to take on and guide Ambi to success and how to act and how to behave as a professional player, it just have activated something inside of Ben that's, I've not seen it before. I even worked with him, didn't see the same sort of Ben back then.
All right, well, then we talked about two players, talked about the squad being complete package, but what about in the server itself? What's the strategy that's making it work?
I've spoken a little bit to Super, so I don't even know his role. He's high up in
GM. General Manager.
General Manager, and when I spoke to him, I got a lot of insight on how they work as a team, and they've actually changed around their structure to something that I think is actually unique within the Tier 1 gameplay right now. They have two in-game leaders. One for defense, which is Citizen, and then they have one for attack, which is Geo. And I think it's a really good thing because of two reasons. First of all, you spread out the responsibilities over the map, but it also means that because these players have to use their head constantly on what is the next step, just because they're not the in-game leader on the other side, that doesn't mean that they will stop talking. They will have more ideas, they will have more thoughts, and they will have more just general understanding of how the team is working, just because they have more responsibilities.
And how that's manifested in terms of like their actual performance. That's the reason that they are the top attack team and the top defense team.
Yeah.
And having watched Soniqs throughout this tournament, they've 2-0'd everybody, right? And the one big thing, the one consistent theme was in the late round, particularly the last 30-40 seconds of the round, they're making the macro decisions correctly, so they're being IGR'd correctly, but also each individual player feels so comfortable and is making the right micro decisions. They look so calm and composed in that late round that's basically the differentiating factor between being a great team here and not being a great team here.
I think they have worked super hard on their communication, because this is what communication leads to. The reason why we won with the back in the days G2 is because we made the least mistakes. It's not because we were the greatest at everything, but we knew how to communicate really well, and we also knew how to move players around the map. And that's what I'm seeing in Soniqs right now. Will they be the same as that team? Who knows? This is the beginning of it, and I think we're going to see a Soniqs that just keep on rising.
Yeah, it's always how do you perform on the day, and Soniqs have had this over the past couple of years, ever since SI22. Keep improving event after event, top 8, top 6, top 4. We'll see how deep they can go today against their opponents, FaZe Clan. We'll talk about them up next. There's their team, and these are their stats, their average at SI 2024. FaZe, slightly rocky in the opening day of group stage, Jack, but they made it happen. They recovered. They got one. They're in the upper bracket.
Yeah, I think they've shown that they're human. You know, of course, playing so many best of threes. there is potential that you will always drop a map here and there.
Yep.
Ended up in the upper bracket, but they got their way to main stage. Currently the only Brazilian team, obviously confirmed for main stage. And regarding their playstyle, I think it's a really good playstyle because it's very, very, very flexible. They obviously have a loose plan in mind coming into the round, but they are very reaction-based based on what their opponent is doing. And that's not necessarily a predetermined reaction, it's just what they read into the round. And they are that flexible that they can just go to whatever they need to. Do they need to hard commit to site? Do they need to take a little bit more time to roam clear? Basically, every style of Siege, they are so good at it.
And building on to that point, and we can go back to the individuals within this system, they have so many flexible players. The only thing that we can kind of draw a line from is like, oh yeah, Cyber is their #1 fragger. I mean, that's clear.
Yep.
And Vita King is their main support.
Yeah.
The other players in Handy, Souls, and KDS, they are all incredibly flexible, can play anything that they need to play, whatever the team needs. They will take that operator, that role for that specific round, and they'll just run with it. It's honestly, they're playing beautiful Siege, and I think that right now, they don't have that much more to improve on. Now it's just put it home, make what you can with this, take the pressure in, survive with that, and if they can, yeah, we're looking at the top contender.
Then what sets FaZe apart from the rest? As you said, they're the only Brazilian team in the upper bracket in a tournament where there were 5 of them. A quarter of the teams were Brazilians.
I think it's empowerment. I really do. I think, we've talked about their playstyle, we've talked about how good they are at the macro, but then they also have this kind of loose element in Cyber where he's absolutely empowered to do whatever he wants on the server. We've seen him play Caveira, we've seen him on Cafe play Rook and Dot constantly because they know and they feel that he can get a spawn peak and just set the round up. And they're not afraid to try different win conditions. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? Is a game of Siege can be all played out on paper, but suddenly if Cyber's picked Rook and spawn peaked your ace, it can completely torpedo around for the other team. And he's empowered to do that as and when he feels like it.
And it's constant trust between the teammates, because if you always have strats on paper, right? I mean, every single team does.
Yeah.
They tell you, this is how we're going to play our defense, and then all of a sudden Cyber just does whatever he wants, and it's just incredible to see.
Build up on that Cyber piece.
It's just incredible. Like, the amount of kills he can get and the amount of impact he has when he pops off, it's brilliant. One thing I want to go before I just throw it back to you guys on is when we get a top-down view on FaZe's movement, especially in their attacks, I think the viewers at home need to pay very close attention to the movement of the 5 FaZe players. Well, if there's 5 alive, of course. Look what they're doing, because there's going to be 2 different things that they do. Either they're going to spread out more and go together, or go away from each other to push everywhere and overwhelm their opponents, or they're going to push together and all go for the same sort of objective with some players on the sides cutting off angles. They are just... yeah, they're just masters of how to play this game.
We talked about Cyber in the pre-show yesterday on his Buck and how incredible he's been. Over 40% pick rate that he has. It actually reminded me of you, Fabian, in the day, because you had an era where you played a boatload of Buck, be it on Bank, be it on Consulate, and it's a very similar style, even with no grenades. Not like grenades are doing much nowadays, but with flashes, it's definitely working well. The scouting key is being put to work. Though, moving on, our map bans. And I want to take a moment here because both squads are so incredible at what they do. I think every bit of the map ban phase is going to be important. Consulate, Skyscraper, Chalet, and Nighthaven Labs will be our first 4 banned maps. First up, FaZe's pick on Oregon against Soniqs will start off on defense. Soniqs will pick Clubhouse and take FaZe on defense. And finally, with Border Cafe banned out, leaves us with only 1. That is our decider, Bank. FaZe will start on the defense. Fresh.
So
thoughts?
Oregon's a very surprising pick because more or less over a long period of time, Soniqs have had 2 permabans, which are Bank and Cafe. FaZe liked both of those maps and could have picked into them, but they went for Oregon. They actually lost it in the bracket against Lost the other day, so it's a bit of a quirky pick from us. I don't know whether Soniqs would be, expecting that. Soniqs have then picked Club. The reason they've done that is their #1 map preference. So for FaZe, Consulate and Chalet are their 2 permabans this event. They've had to permaban them away, so Soniqs have been able to choose the map they want to go to for free.
Thoughts on Oregon, Fabian?
I think it makes sense in a little bit, but especially for Soniqs. I don't think it makes sense for FaZe's sake.
What? How come? What would happen in the server?
The way that Soniqs are playing, making almost no mistakes, that is literally what Oregon is all about.
True.
Any small mistakes will be punished massively by teams as good as these. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting map, and I think the game overall, I can't call it which way, but a 2-1 for whichever side wins, I'm happy with.
How do you see Oregon? Our match is ready.
I think Soniqs will take it because I just think they're going to be able to attack better onto it. I think this is obviously their real test, but based on the tournament so far, there's nothing that would indicate Soniqs won't be winning this.
And just to disagree with Jack, because I have to disagree with him sometimes, you know, you need to put him in his place.
Fair enough.
Yeah, FaZe will win it 7-0.
All right, thank you very much, Fabian. I mean, what can I say?
They won't win it 7-0, but
I hope it's going to be way closer than that. Thank you very much, Fresh and Fabian. Our casters are ready, so please, Intero Pengo, take it away.
An awful lot on the line here, Niklas. As the team that has played the fewest maps remaining at this event plays the team that has played the most maps at the event. Now, out of the teams remaining, of course, FaZe Clan has played 15 maps so far, which actually trails W7M and Liquid. I guess technically W7M is still in this event. I almost forgot about them. But Soniqs only playing 10 maps is insane when you think about it. The only two teams that have played fewer maps, other than M80, who got bounced right at the very beginning, was D+ Kia and Falcons, both of whom played under 10. Despite this, if you look at the numbers, Soniqs have players on the top of quite a lot of these categories, Nick. Citizen is the highest rated player at the moment. Grixter, the 4th highest rated player. Now, they do this with 106 kills and 91 kills, respectfully. Mowgli, he's no longer in this event, had 193 kills, almost double Citizen. So the efficiency of players like Citizen, like Grixter, like Ambi as well, has been wild to watch. But the question then becomes, is it because of Soniqs' small sample size? We noted when we casted them the other day, they played in a relatively weak group.
Yeah. That's why the term here from Jack as well was this is going to be Soniqs' big test here going into this tournament where, yeah, they've done great so far, but what has really been their competition? If you look at the matchups, they played Scars, they played Lowe's, they played Falcons, they played Fury, and they played Wolves yesterday. But in a matchup where, or the day before rather, where they had, Wolves themselves had just played against W7M in a very long series, they were tired, they were exhausted, then they came up against Soniqs and they got annihilated 2-0 by this American squad. So yeah, I do think this will really showcases how good Soniqs they truly are, and for them could also be a shocker if FaZe coming strong into this and take a couple of rounds, you know, destroy their confidence. How will Soniqs deal with actually losing for the first time in their current roster duration at this event? Because when a team have only been going through victories after victories after victories, you haven't dealt with those negative thoughts and negative vibes in the team. So want to see how they deal with that if things go the way of FaZe. But of course, as the desk said, at least Jack, he said Soniqs, they're gonna win.
Didn't Fabian also say that FaZe was gonna win 7-0?
But Fabian's an old man. You know, he was behind Benja talking strats with him right before they had the G2 had their game. He forgot where he was, where he belonged. That's on the desk, Fabian, not as a coach.
Now there was a slight tech issue that has been resolved, so we can actually get into the matchup. The very first bomb site will be Laundry Supply down below. Soniqs is a team, they like to buck the trend. They like to play well on attack, which is something that's been a bit abnormal, to say the least, with what we've seen so far through the entirety of this event. Looking specifically at a map like Oregon, well, you'd be surprised to know that
10 seconds to
it's
go.
not an anomaly with these with the defender win rate. 66% of all rounds won by the defenders.
Attackers are heading out to
66%.
defuse a bomb.
That means of every 3 rounds, you expect 2 of them to be won by the defense, or rather you just expect, you've had times where all rounds come in. It means that you have a better than 50-50 shot of the defense winning. Every single bomb site except for Kitchen Dining is defender side, and we will talk about those specific sites as they arise. As for the time being, Laundry Supply has been played 78 times at this event. One of the most played bomb sites, period. And it has been won almost 75% of the time. That is a very tall order for the attackers to overcome, so FaZe will have the work cut out for them as they start on that bomb site on attack for round number 1.
Now, I had a big question going into this on Oregon. Which team will ban the Monty? Because both Soniqs and FaZe like to play it. And funny enough, Monty doesn't get banned by either side. FaZe go for the Blitz ban instead, targeting, yeah, you guessed that right, Geometrics, who's been on the Blitz duty for the side of Soniqs. And then in their first opening attacking round, FaZe themselves will bring out the Monty from Vitaking. Now, it's crucial to know that Monty might slow down your gameplay sometimes because he walks a little bit slower when he has that shield extended. Can't just sprint throughout the building, but you also buy time later on in the round when you approach the bomb site. Because you have all that safety bikes in the shield, you can clear all the corners, check all the angles, just quite literally walk down towards the bomb site and give intel to your teammates. Hey, guy in this corner, taken down, could be a nade, capital fire, or of course there's some good gunplay here. So FaZe very much going for a slightly different approach than usual, not bringing the likes of Capital, not bringing Ying, for example, because it's been banned out by Soniqs, but instead opting for the shield play and intel game, trying to play together in this 5v5 scenario.
Good luck, an operator whose pick rate has steadily been climbing over the last couple months, and now we see at SI has relatively strong influence on these rounds, has access to grenades. The F90 is a gun that is heavily slept on. We've talked a lot about this operator's gun on your screen, IQ, in the hands of KDS, and how good that commando is. It's also a gun that's brought by Grim, an operator whose pick rate is soaring. What would happen if you put the F90 on an operator who maybe had a bit more utility, or maybe it was a 2 or 3 speed? I think you would find it would easily get nerfed quite quickly.
I could definitely see that here. FaZe in the last moments of the round, 40 seconds to go. They're setting things up, not quite just yet right now. Viking outside of the double of the Monty being smoked off, while the push comes from front side.
Citizen's very well equipped to deal with this. The cross from over towards Freezers. There go nades. King wants to get in on the action from blue, but isn't capable of doing that. All the guns so far from Soniqs. Rexin in particular. He finds 3 in the hallway. Now it's King to walk in, take some damage in the process. KDS still in Freezer, but he's effectively frozen out of this round. It's all up to the shield operator, who dies at the hands of Citizen, who gets the final 2 picks. 3 kills from Rexin, 2 kills from Citizen, and that's the first round.
I mean, great start there from the side of FaZe in the execute beginning of things, but it comes down to shutdown here in those 5v5 moments. When you got the crossfires, when you got things set up, it is so difficult to pick it apart, which is why we expect the defenders time and time again to win that basement bomb side. Now, if you win this as an attacker, massive. And one thing I really think that surprised FaZe is Soniqs barricade the Freezer door. So they push in for Freezer, they expect to get like a crossfire established, but immediately, door's barricaded. They can't get anywhere. The issue with taking Freezer control is that it doesn't really go anywhere else. The hallway is a very big danger point with a crosser from Pillar, from Laundry, and from the side itself. And Viking, who was on the Monty, who you would expect to be the primary pusher of this round, was single-handedly, all alone, outside blue double door, smoked off by Soniqs. So FaZe's win condition in that round, being the Monty, didn't see any play whatsoever, and I think they were gambling on the fact that, okay, where Monty's gonna go, Soniqs will rotate a bunch of players, expecting a big push to come from that direction, and then they go for the backstab. But Soniqs didn't react. They locked out the Monty 1-to-1, smoke him off, he stands outside, and play those 4v4 guns on the front, and they come out victorious because of that.
Soniqs will play a much more active defense now as they go upstairs to the dorm's bomb site. Second most played site on this map, and it also has the second best defender win rate. 65% of all the rounds that have been played on this bomb site breaking in favor of the defenders. A Thorn being brought by Citizen. This is an operator whose pick rate has been quite low this event, but still has application, especially as we talked about how Fenrir gains some serious value. Well, Thorn's about to gain some right there as a Razor Bloom gives the position of KDS on White Stairs away, and Geo gets first pick. KDS almost within the bomb site in the first 45 seconds, but dies, meaning Soniqs now can sit pretty for the remaining 2 minutes.
Perfect application of Thorn there from Citizen, but also KDS was playing the IQ. You would think that you use the scanner, you see there's something that can shut you down, could be Melusi, you know, Ella, could be the Thorn, for example, any gadgetry that will automatically activate as you walk up a staircase that's not barbed wire. But no, KDS like, I'm gonna take this off-chance play that I might get a kill or two, and you can tell that FaZe didn't really intend to do anything with that. No one else is in a front 4 position, nobody tried to push the bomb side, it was just KDS looking for a lurk.
I mean, looking for a lurk on the actual bomb site.
Well, okay, looking for a side rush alone, I guess you could say, yeah.
So Tuberau has shown up, and you see those Zoto canisters being put to use on that closet wall. Oh my, a nice toss by Rexin. Goodbye, Cyber. Down for the count. Impacts have been used by Soniqs to try and get rid of the hard breach on closet wall. It didn't work out, so small part has been opened up. Guns from FaZe now hitting their marks, but the numbers are just not mathing for them. More almost to go off as King sits on this position, takes care of Citizen, expecting another swing over towards Attic. It's a valiant effort, and the round is still going, so I don't know why that happened. But we're back to Vidaking. 3 players from Soniqs still upright as Vidaking inside a trophy, looks towards the bomb chassis, and Soniqs are currently exhibiting great patience.
Yep, as Vidaking though, just waiting right now, but he has to make the first move with 35 seconds. Those smokes go out, and again the crossfires here. Top right, Kitstorm Store and Edic Doorway as well. Soniqs in the 3v1, they lock things out, and they have the discipline and the communication of excellence here up against FaZe. So far, their test, they're doing mighty fine on it.
Really working the bomb site as you would expect. Ambi started on that roam early at main door, as we talked about. It's not uncommon for teams to want to open up that door and get some control inside of that main lobby right away on Oregon. Ambi was gambling off of that, manages to get back into the site safely, and then KDS gives Soniqs a huge leg up by pushing up white stairs right here. The Razor Bloom is not exactly a tool that we expect to get kills directly. The Razor Bloom in that sense gets a kill indirectly by going off and giving information to Geo, who then stands up and capitalizes off of that. Look at this. You've got information, you see the tracers, you hear the bullets.
I have felt that C4 for like 3 months on scrims.
Oh boy, I mean, this is why scrims matter, right? Mess up, like, this is the thing. A lot of players, when they first get to pro play, they'll care so much about scrims and doing the right thing, but scrims, which is practice games before a real series, is all about failing to then learn how to do it correctly. Rexon said that he had messed up that C4 for like 3 months in scrims, but now in this round, he gets a very important second opening kill, making it a 5 versus 3. And it's small things like that, trying to improve upon the things you keep failing at, and eventually it will work out. Rexon himself, sitting on 5 kills, Citizen on 3. And the more important story right now is that FaZe are looking like they're completely locked out. Their problem solving not really happening, and their opening kills not happening either. Both of these two teams between Soniqs and FaZe are excellent usually in fighting for the opening engagements and converting that to a round victory. But right now, so far, it's only really been Soniqs in the driver's seat. Yeah, they played primary bomb site downstairs, they played secondary upstairs and Kitstorms. This tertiary bomb site is where the real story will show itself, and whether or not Soniqs can play this disciplined playstyle and shut out FaZe. Because as you start winning bomb sites, you go to a weaker and weaker defender-sided situation, which this tertiary bomb site really is. It's Kitchen a meeting. FaZe are approaching things right now with intel. The Twitch, the regular Jones, scouting for the bomb site, seeing what the players are playing from Soniqs, and it's mostly towards meeting and big tower right now that things are happening.
This is what's commonly referred to as the tertiary bomb site on this map. Though we've seen teams actually go here first, which is abnormal. You and I cast a matchup like that the other day. Meeting Hall and Kitchen's the 3rd most played bomb site on this map, and would you guess it? Favors the defenders. As you can see right now, Geo with the very first kill before Souls trades it back. Souls trying desperately to capitalize off of these logic bombs. Citizen falls to KDS. Geo now under fire as well as KDS takes a beating. Down goes Geo to Handy, and it seems like FaZe's execute much brisker this time, far more formidable as well. Final logic bomb will go off, and it's Grixer to engage in a gunfight. Vidaking with diffuser in hand, attempting the plant towards stage. Grixer will look. He gets shot and finished off by Handy. It's all up to Rexon now to go into the exact same position that he just watched his teammate die from. Rexon will see stage, and just because you see it doesn't mean you can get it done. Big round from Handy to clean up through the backstage and give FaZe its very first round victory.
The big thing there from FaZe that was different was that instead of coming from the majority of people from the same side of the map, so like basement, there was like freezer and laundry stairs. On Kitstorms, most people inside of like Armory and Master Bedroom, they were scattered across the map. 2 lobby, 1 big tower, 1 was spot on white, that was Souls find that open kill. KDS was coming from small towers, so they were approaching Soniqs from so many different directions, and you saw what Soniqs like to do. When they see a player from FaZe, they'll walk towards them, trying to isolate those members or take them down 2 against 2. But this time around, because FaZe were in so many different positions, they actually got backstabbed multiple times. We saw Soniqs make it rotate somewhere, there's a person holding them. They take a gunfight, there's 2 players from FaZe holding them. So a big change up there in position game from FaZe, and this is the thing. FaZe, they have 2 very distinct attacking playstyles. They have one style where it'll be 5 guys going from the exact same location, walking through the map. Very old school Siege. Then they have that new style, like we just saw in the previous round. Scattered across 5 players, different positions, with some middle links that help one another. And that's like a more newer style of Siege. And it's hard to have the overview as a leader in a team to play that new style. Because you gotta worry about not just where you are and what you see, but where everyone is and what they could be doing to help each other and get the timings right. That's the big thing here, timing. When Souls attacks a player bottom right, KDS was in shower hallway to hold the white staircase. Small things like that requires a high level of communication, which you'd expect from every single team here. That's not always the case. Every team has a different play style, different systems in place, and different levels of communication, and how many people, of course, are vocal players in a given roster. For Sonic, with Empty being picked up, a young gunner, him and Ben have been looking mighty fine together, enabling one another really here on the entries and those aggressive fights. And with Soniqs' new system of Citizen being the ideal on defense, he can pick a player like Ambi, say, Ambi, play in this position, go for this gunfight, I'll either support you or I'll give you a way out back towards the bomb site safety. And Ambi right now, who's not at a kill so far, has to problem solve. Person in dining, person out of server room, he is under a lot of pressure.
Very slow start from Ambi, given the way we've seen him play right now. Again, the one conversation that I've seen, and it's been talked about by Talent too, is the strength of schedule for Soniqs. I think many would argue that they had a relatively easy path here compared to a lot of the contemporaries. Can they stand up to a team like FaZe Clan that has proven that they can consistently be one of the best teams in the world? Because Soniqs is hoping that that same title can be used for them. I know that there was a discussion that was had in one of our storyline meetings before we actually started this event, with a lot of people thinking FaZe Clan was one of the best teams here. I actually spoke to a player from W7M who said that he thought FaZe Clan was the best team here, and a couple other teams affirmed that with the scrim reports that they were getting. Of course, it was SI 2018 where FaZe Clan went perfect in scrims and then ultimately got bounced in playoffs in a stunning fashion. So just because you're good in scrims doesn't mean it's going to translate to game day. People wondering why I highlight that, I just think it's kind of funny that FaZe Clan back at that SI, even if that SI was 6 years ago, good lord, was the team to beat, and now a lot of teams think the same about FaZe here. They've got to obviously get over Soniqs first. Both of these teams have made main stage. They will play in front of a crowd in Brazil. For FaZe Clan, that crowd buff will be all too real.
Yeah, it's a good point of the consistency of the roster here. Now they also got the Grim and Capital to help follow Viking on the execute. So now more util from the attack and lineup. Fire goes out, Beast will follow. Muncie gets the intel. They gotta strike first. KDS was just that, but gets shut down.
They lost Ambi early on, but Soniqs will try to fight their way back. Now it's the Mira, harassed by the bees on Pillar. The guns from Soniqs just too strong at the moment. Isolating Geo on Pillar, he had nowhere to go, so the Monty's able to feast off of him in that spot. Shield operator that Geo knows all too well. But all the guns from Soniqs are hitting their marks, and it leaves just Vidaking to trudge through hallway. Getting closer to B-Bomb's site, he's got Diffuser in hand. What are you gonna do at this point? You gonna try for kills? Not really. 3 players still survive, but the round goes to Soniqs based on the timer. And they will go perfect on the laundry supply room on their defense.
That pretty much is as good of a round that FaZe can realistically get on a basement attack. They got opening con to Ambi, doing a great job at isolating him inside a kitchen. 3 players on the attack from different positions, firing through walls, soft destruction, and find that opening kill. So you're attacking the bomb site 5 versus 4, which is definitely best case scenario, realistically speaking. But it still doesn't work out. And why is that? Well, small things. Monty was in the goo mine the entire time. Couldn't help his teammate, couldn't sprint, couldn't extend the shield really, and he had to go that ADS kill. But things that also went sideways here. Big tower staircase, Geo aggressed and got into a surprising position for FaZe. So the Beast and Grim, the Capital Fire, not really being utilized to its full effect. Sure, they used the gadget tree, we saw the fire, we saw the bees, but not arguably in the right positions, or at the very least, if they were in the intended spots, Geo did a great job at positioning around them and still playing for that surprise play. We've seen Geo back in TSM, now here in Soniqs, often get put on an island for himself where he is just doomed, and he will probably die. And his job and expectations often is to kill some drones, waste utility, and try and buy as much time as possible. But as time has been going on this squad with Soniqs, Geo has become one of those players that will still be put on an island, but come out with 1 or 2 kills, massively favoring his team, surviving some of those unsurvivable positions, and often also going neutral or positive on the scoreline as a hard support player. Every single player from Soniqs is positive in injuries, I think besides Geo, who's like -1. So it just goes to show that every single player is alive, they're working on things, they're doing things really well. Even the supportive staff, which is easy to write up as like, oh, they shouldn't do well. But guess what? For this squad, they really do.
Much has been talked about Ambi, the young player on Soniqs, as he made his comp debut here at SI. He's actually the lowest rated member of this SQ team. Just barely above a 1 rating at a 1.04. Still positive on entry, positive in terms of KD. Plays, fragging operators that you come to expect. Oh my, Geo putting the MP7 to good use on Trophy Door. But FaZe are just pummeling their way through this bomb site. They have so much control. Soniqs completely abandoning it. And now as they retake through top of white, FaZe Clan read into it perfectly and shut them down, denying Soniqs a victory on a bomb site that seemed much easier for SQ just about 10 minutes ago. FaZe Clan keeping this one close. Those Soniqs have denied a potential half victory for FaZe by picking up 3 rounds earlier. FaZe Clan can tie on this final attack of theirs.
The good old switcheroo where you go really slow for a couple rounds, you play the util, the Monty, you don't take those big risks as a team. Yeah, we saw KDS last round sprint up the white staircase to bomb site, but this time all 5 players working together for FaZe, and the result much more also favors them here. So they saw there were a couple of roamers offside from Soniqs, 2 in fact bottom white, so they know if they just overman the bomb site, they're playing 5 versus 3 or 5 versus 2 depending on those player positions, and if you just have the confidence to make call, guys, let's swarm them on the side. All we gotta do is win 1 or 2 gunfights. We can do this. Well, they did it. And because that intel on the roamers downstairs, all you gotta do is lock down 2 staircases. The bottom white staircase, and of course, top armory staircase. And just like that, you have full side control, and the defenders gotta play retake on their own bomb side. Soniqs, despite losing, will go back-to-back rounds here on Kid Storm's defense with small alterations. Big tower extension, Frost playing up there with a Frost mat, and that's also going to force out some changes from FaZe where, okay, get back on the Maverick, get back on the Beast, maybe slow things down a little bit, but still keep the offense possibility. The Lion, the Bog, the Sophia, soft destruction, global gadget, and of course, the first step of any round is to deny those default cameras, especially outside the building, then their primary ones like Big Tower, lobby, shower hallway. Try and make the map as dark as possible for defenders, and then start approaching the building, zoning things out yourselves an attacking squad, and seeing where you want to attack from. Rexton gave up Big Tower. He's in the attic rotate right now. Gonna go for the reinforcement, which might trigger an early quick rappel in if they hear the animation, which is gonna make them get into the trap. But no, FaZe will not speed up, but they did drone it out. Flashman goes in, rappel on in, Frost map, chonk, finds the Bog of Cyber, and just like that, he's down on 20 HP.
It was a Team Liquid who did this exact same thing, and we talked about it not droning out T3. It's a rarity these days for teams to actively hold that part of the map, but I suppose a single Frost mat over there means you still have some presence. I mean, you haven't engaged in a single gunfight, and yet you've already done 80% of the damage to the Buck. Excellent by Soniqs, even if all they did was set the mat and set it and forget it, as you want to say. Rexton has his sights towards that particular part of the map, as he's in attic right now. I'm not sure if he can hear that blowtorch of Handy, but he seems to understand that somebody's in that position. E1D will be burned as we hit the halfway point of this round. And FaZe are still looking to establish map control. Soniqs don't really do too much, not a very active defense. But again, the bomb site is usually so heavily defender-sided, you just need to sit and wait for the most part, especially in sight. You can have somebody roaming down below. Beyond that, it's more about patience, and great patience so far shown by Soniqs.
Yeah, they got the more util up the Wamai, the shields holding trophy, and again, they fall back about 1 minute 25 seconds. That's like the soft counter where, okay, they got what they wanted out of this, but look at that, Wamai's in the closet rotate, he's just walking in there.
That's Ambi still searching for his very first kill. He was playing over towards Trophy. Could have gotten a nice jump scare onto FaZe Clan, but instead gets away. Handy has made his way through attic, so Rexton has fallen off of this position. One player from Soniqs over inside of dorms, 2 silhouettes near one another as Handy now looks to walk in off of those flashbangs. King absorbing an awful lot of damage. Ambi getting his very first kill of this map. But Handy and Cyber are there to ensure that FaZe Clan comes out ahead. Rexton swinging onto the window. He seizes on that Lion and looks even farther on to King. Advantage now favoring Soniqs. Last two players of FaZe Clan side by side. Handy leading the charge into dorms. Takes out Rexon, and a nice shot over towards White, but luck runs out onto Citizen, as now it's up to Cyber, who took damage early on, and Grixter finishes off what little was left of him. First half going in favor of the North American squad, 4-2.
It might have been hard to see it during the chaos of that round, but Grixter's toxic bait positions on the smoke were excellent. They forced out Vidaking twice from his safe position inside a default plant spot, and that's why he died. He had to run out of cover into the middle of the room and then got shut down by the other teammates of Soniqs. So something that's very small is like where you put your utility, right? Where does C4 go? If C4 can get a kill, sure, but you can also force someone to move out of a strong position. That's what the Toxic Babes did. Rexing acted upon it, finding one kill here. You see Vidaking sprinting around the hallway. Why? Because that Toxic Babe was landed perfectly to shut down that position. And then we see a discipline from Soniqs again. Citizen will run down staircase, so that time is going to be on the defensive side. Grixter, while being alone on the bomb side, only has to win a 1v1 against a 20 health opponent with 6 seconds left. And if Grixter were to fall there to Cyber, well, Citizen can run back up the staircase or go below if the Valcam on side and shut down the plant attempt. Either way, Soniqs, they have two separate win conditions, two different ways to win in that round, and they get the 4-2 side half. Now, if this was a couple days ago, we might have gone, oh, defenders had it, invitationals, defense should be winning 3, 4, 5 rounds, whatever. But Soniqs also happen to be, currently, so far, the best attacking team at this event. And then we can say, okay, they had like an easier, enemy opponent so far. They had like an easier path to this matchup against FaZe. But I'm gonna just say this and say, Soniqs are a great attacking team. So going up 4-2 on defense, now going on a very strong side of attack for you, is a really good look here and a good start for them.
Both teams still with their timeouts as well, so
True.
if things go to hell very quickly in the second half for either squad, they can settle things down. Well, I will say, just from a general storyline perspective, it's excellent that FaZe Clan will make main stage. Both times that we have come to Brazil for an international event, a Brazilian team has made it to the finals. For those of you that have not followed Rainbow Six since the dawn of time, it was Black Dragons back in 2017. That team is now known as Ninjas in Pajamas. Handy gets first pick. Well, technically, KDS beats him to the punch by a second. As Rexon and Grixter walk right in, and there goes the Dokkaebi of Citizen. This is a full court press from FaZe as they are taking no prisoners on this defense. Suddenly, with well over half of the round to go, it's up to Ambi and Geo. Monty can provide such great value, but I mean, when FaZe is hitting shots like this, what do you do? There isn't a single scratch on the car of FaZe until Ambi picks off KDS, but 4 more kills to go. We are currently in a position where that kill from Ambi is impactless, and he gets swatted away by Souls. There was only a fraction of Ambi's HP left. FaZe Clan ensuring that they continue this upper bracket run. A victory here will push these teams into the semifinals of the upper bracket. The other team will still fight, just be down in the lower bracket.
Yeah. I did all the work hyping up the attack of Soniqs, and then that happened. I'm like, was that really that wrong? What happened here? I mean,
Andy opens up my T1 door, we call, we take west side, and I walk in T1 and I kill the guy T1 first.
okay, there it is. Bing, bang, boom. Ben's got locked down there with the leadership duties. Now, firstly, FaZe hit a bunch of great shots, shutting down all the entry points, lobby, big tower, etc. But also, Soniqs were kind of fighting with less than ideal tools. Everybody was entering alone without a drone in front of them for intel. Meanwhile, Geo and Ambi just walked into blue on near the bomb site, but nothing really came out of that. Geo on Monty, alone in big tower. Everybody's dead around him. Can't work with that either. So a very scattered defense, and it doesn't lead to anything. Now FaZe are playing upstairs in kids' dorms. They're hiding the clash pick in the corner of dorms, bomb site itself, because they want to make sure that the attackers won't be able to repick the strong operators against it, like a Kali or a Capita, whatever they might find useful. But Citizen either droned out the clash as a really good read on the situation, because Capita rather is being brought up as a counter pick. We don't see Clash all that often in Oregon, especially when it's not the basement bomb site.
I dare you to come closer. I dare you.
Clash is an intriguing operator.
Says so much.
She has the hardest lines of any operator. Just a lot of talking for an operator who doesn't often get into any real fights herself. Instead allowing and enabling those around her to get into those fights. Point I was making, by the way, before FaZe Clan decided to go full throttle in that previous round was that Both events we had in Brazil, we had Black Dragons in 2017. They were defeated by ENTS. They're now known as Ninjas in Pajamas, this Black Dragons team. FaZe Clan is the same FaZe Clan. Obviously, it's a completely different roster, but it's still the same organization, same lineage. They obviously got defeated by you in Rio. Now, we should have gone to Brazil in 2020, but then COVID obviously struck and it shut down all of the live events. It would have been fascinating to see what would have become of that live event. It would have been nice to come back here. Of course, our time spent in Sao Paulo was delayed by about 4 years. I think for everybody's sake, either W7M or FaZe Clan making a deep run would be excellent for the state of this event. And of course, there's no crowd as loud as a Brazilian crowd, and I think both you and I can attest to that.
Oh, we certainly can. So let's see if they can do it. Soul's open and kill. Oh, nice. Sonic in trouble. He needs help.
What did I say about not directly engaged in the fight? Gio gets baited into a play as now the fire goes. Vidaking manages to very slowly back away. He's the only player so far on FaZe Clan that's taken any damage. A really rough game from Ambi so far, but Ambi is a younger player. He's gonna have bad matches. Just so happens that it happens on a big stage.
That's solved now. No fires left. 2 members down, and while the wall is open up inside a closet, you don't need the thermite any longer. The clash is still upright. Now Sophia has 1 soft bridge in pocket, could go below, destroy the floor, maybe injure the clash. There would so little HP left on Vidaking, but the issue is advancing now from Trophy Master Victory, which will be extremely hard for Soniqs.
Souls is now watching over this panel. KDS finds 2 very fast, and it's flawlessly done by FaZe to tie things up. This is Soniqs' map pick. Long faces that we see from SQ as they have not experienced a game like this so far here at SI. Talk a little bit about the mental of Ambi, Nick, because you are the youngest player currently competing at this event. You make your pro debut at the Six Invitational on a team that has some very vocal fans and some very vocal haters. You're doing that by playing quite well. Time and time again, we see both Citizen and Ambi doing a fun little handshake and goofy play after a round. What goes into the mental, as somebody like yourself who played very young, when things start to go bad and you don't really have that experience? You don't know what it's like to have rounds like this played against you. What's going through Ambi's head?
I mean, honestly, the thing for Ambi, he's probably going to be in his own head here. He's 2-7, they're losing rounds, not finding kills. As an injury fragger, either you're supposed to get a kill yourself or get space for your team. And right now on the attacking side, Ambi is not giving his team either of those. He's not finding kills, and he's dying really quickly in the entry before getting things done. So what I really hope for him and Soniqs is that someone like Citizen, somebody like Gio, who's been around the block, been there for a long time, who's very vocal in his team, they don't shut down. Because, as you said, we've seen Ambi and Ben, Citizen, have these secret handshakes and have some fun banter and being very vocal and smiling on camera. And if Citizen shuts down next to Ambi and those things stop coming his way, he's gonna be like, damn, I'm an issue right now. I'm not doing good enough, and I feel bad about it. You gotta tell Ambi, don't worry about it. You got it next round. Don't worry about it. You got it the next round. If he never gets it in this specific map of Oregon, don't worry, Ambi. You got it next map. You need to keep your teammates in it and make them able to believe that this is just a bad situation that will turn around. When I played against Font back in, 2018, whichever, and I had a stinker of a game. First map border, I get 1 kill, Goga injured him, I confirmed it. Next map, I broke the world kill record at the time, again on Oregon. Fabian said every round, next round you got this, next round you got this. And I might not have believed it at the time, but eventually things start clicking. It won't be this round of a Citizen. He got shut down early. Ambi, of course, still upright on the finger. And even if Soniqs were to lose this round, if Ambi can get a kill or 2, gain some confidence, feel better in the server, that would still be a small victory for Soniqs, despite losing the round.
Cannot keep giving up these first picks, as we see, and with how good Citizen has been, and how good he's been since Ambi came onto this roster, with Ambi allowing Citizen to play more comfortable ops, and really getting full value out of a player who, at one period of time, was, I think, in conversation for best active player in the game. Losing Citizen early hurts. You lose the global as well, and there's only one global backup, and that is Ambi on the Finca, who is his favorite attacking operator at this point. Handy's the only one that's taken some damage on the side of FaZe Clan as this round has flown by. It's the tertiary bomb site. As now a grenade goes in, it manages to do the yokai drone. I honestly think that's huge value for the grenades. His grenades are undeniably less effective.
Yeah, I didn't think he would get it because the cooking is gone, but he bounced it off the wall, so it explodes faster, essentially. But the issue is, getting in the bomb site here is hard for Soniqs. Verticality on side of defense. They got roamers inside of service as well. So yeah, they can look at the bomb site, but I don't think they can enter these doorways or the breach inside a meeting. Right now, Soniqs are completely locked out. No smokes. No Monty, of course, and also very little intel.
Oh, but Souls appears. Blamai decides to challenge. Doesn't know Ambi's in that position. Down he goes. Yokai back in where it was before, but instead it's Geo to bail off of that spot as KDS picks up a kill. 15 seconds to go, and suddenly Soniqs have completely changed it up, but there's fire on the ground. Geo taking an awful lot of damage. Ambi is in, giving an adrenal surge as KDS is on the board, and the Warden is single-handedly saving the round. It's all up to the youngest player on Soniqs, but the clock runs out, and FaZe Clan takes the lead.
I like the rotation there from Soniqs. Geo said, I'll lead the charge, I can die, you trade me. He sprints to the Goyo Fire, and it looked like a surprising factor, but there was a goo mine in the middle of the hallway. He could no longer sprint, and he got stuck in the fire for way too long.
Timeout by Soniqs, and diagnose this for me. You're the expert.
I was gonna say they're trying to problem solve around like what were the actual problems, and I love when players, they say, did they have a Valkyrie that round? What was the issue? Was it intel? Was it lack of control? A lot of players will just say, that round sucked, like, you messed up, I messed up, whatever, but they're trying to problem solve right now, which is very important for best of 3 or best of 5, because the longer this goes on for, the more counter-stratting and analyzing you gotta do on the fly. So they asked, did they have Valkyrie? It was like, no, they have Echo. We killed one Yokai drone, one stayed alive, etc. And it goes, okay. So they had intel on us. What else is the issue? Okay, they were way too slow because they were playing Goyo. So when there's 15 seconds left and the Goyo canister gets popped, you have negative 5 seconds. Because the fire lasts for 20, you have 15, doesn't add up. If you're FaZe right now, you're laughing all the way to the bank because you won 3 rounds in a row. And I don't want to say with ease, but they didn't really have to fight all that hard for it. Right here we see it. The fire stalls things out, the goo mine slowed down Geo, and it buys KDS the space and the timing to get the shutdown kill onto side and the follow-up kill to Geo afterwards, and completely locking out that portion of the map. Soniqs, of course, the easiest issue to point out right now is they're just losing early opening engagements. Since the side swap, there's been 3 rounds played. FaZe has all 3 uncontested opening kills. Soniqs are playing 4v5 every single round right now, which is not obviously ideal. And it's different players dying. It's not just Citizen, it's not just Ampy. They're taking turns, but someone is dying early every round.
Unfortunately, there's a tech pause to follow up the tactical pause, and
There's a headset issue.
From admins gathered around, I believe it's Citizen and Geo who sit on the end. Or Ambi, actually. He's so small, I didn't see him. He was in between Citizen and Geo. I completely lost. Look, I can't even see him there.
He's hiding.
Geo is perfectly blocking him. It actually looks like Geo's sitting on 2 chairs for a second.
Now, we're just gonna figure out the problem is, change a headset or whatever it might be and get back in. Of course, players cannot talk while this is happening. They gotta sit there in silence and suffer together.
Was it G2 yesterday who received an official warning of talking during tech pauses?
I believe so.
This is an issue that has come in a couple times in other esports, and to give you a greater idea of why teams are prevented from speaking in between maps or matches or tech issues, etc. Whenever there's a tech pause, of course, it's solely because there have been times in previous esports and maybe within our own where convenient tech pauses have been used by teams to communicate.
Yeah.
Oh no, suddenly the router died. I guess we're gonna have to completely rehost. But now we have 30 seconds to talk about the round. If you prevent players from speaking in between tech pauses, then they can't use it to their advantage. They can't strategize. I mean, look at this right now. These players are sitting here. There might be a word or two said, but by and large, teams are not allowed to discuss what's going on in the server or what to do. So they sit there in silence, sometimes uncomfortable silence, while the issue is diagnosed. And it does look like it's been fixed. as we have a view on our monitor, but we are still waiting for the all clear from the admins before throwing into the actual matchup. Laundry Supply Room, the FaZe clan, looking to take away at the momentum that Soniqs is hoping to gain from that tactical timeout. And by the way, if you see those fun little characters in the bottom of your screen, that's a new Ubisoft game that is launched called Rainbow Six Small. It's available on the App Store now on both iOS and Android.
10 seconds
And
remaining.
Netflix.
Yeah, it's a Netflix game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Netflix collaboration thing, so yeah.
It is a lot of comparisons to Hotline Miami,
I was gonna say,
which
yeah.
is what people were talking about. And it is a strikingly deep game for the fact that I didn't hear anything about it until this event. I don't know if you'd heard about it. I did not know it was coming.
No, came out of nowhere, but a pleasant surprise, and actually some of the talent members played it in the green room yesterday.
Half of the talent was playing it
Yeah,
today.
and it was like, this is actually pretty damn fun, so.
Which is nice. I didn't think you'd be able to wrestle. What were they playing? They were playing Age of Empires and Helldivers is what the talent has been playing for the most part in the green room in between these matches. And you've wrestled their attention away from that. We're in an attention economy, okay? And if Rainbow Six Small is the game, SMOL, that is gaining your attention, well, kudos to them. You can try it out. It's free.
So, while a take pause happens, as we spoke about, you cannot talk to your teammates, of course, but if you have clever players that can break down these rounds individually, you can take this as a time to sit down and be like, okay, what could we do in these upcoming rounds? Kind of theorize, because now you finally don't have to think about the active live round because you have a take issue. So there might be some players who are very smart at the game being like, oh guys, let's start playing this operator. Let's start doing that. Oh, actually, I just thought of a strat we can do while we were having this kind of like pause time. It's been a bit of a slow round here. An early roam from Cyber's gonna drop down the meeting hatch and advance towards the big tower side of things. But we know there are two players from Soniqs waiting for him. So now Cyber, does he have to read? He does, but Ambi, the young gunner, back in action here, now 5 and 7, has found himself a bit of confidence and ground in these rounds to finally, for Soniqs, get their first uncontested opening kill on attack.
It's on the Solus too, which is quite large. Still got plenty of denial operators on the board. You're going to have those Goyle canisters from Handy likely still in effect. If you look at the lineup from Soniqs, they don't have any of those extra drones, no Flores, no Twitch. You don't need to worry about those canisters getting popped, so hopefully for FaZe fans, FaZe is able to use them at best to deny the rush from Soniqs towards the bomb site. Additionally, you've got Smoke and a Warden, both of whom are excellent in the cut and thrust of an execute. Final moment now, and Rexon will hack the cam, so utility is also present for Soniqs. Don't count them out. They've still got all 5 Bs in Geometrics. Grim, got Adrenal Surges, you've got Explosives. The only operator that I kind of question utility is going to be Gritzer's Maverick.
FaZe is in a similar position where they got the opening pick but still lost the round, so we still need Soniqs to step up here. You guys see those Grim Beats from TU being used at high efficiency level to shut down the player positions of FaZe and get some intel, and then when the 3, 2, 1 execute comes through, there has to be some trades going on Soniqs side. You cannot die alone and die for nothing.
Players dropping hatches as Rexon takes up space inside of Freezer, but his advance will be halted by the fire of the Goyle canister. Same on the front of Laundry as you see Citizen and Ambi both stacked up, but the flames will deny them for now. Ambi on the board with Souls dying a second time for Ambi, but KDS and Vidaking fight back. Citizen's in the midst of the flames taking tons of damage. He needs to do more, but FaZe locked them out. The clock works against them and the rush from Soniqs does not pay off in the final moments of the round. On Soniqs map, FaZe moves to map point.
The misread there from Soniqs again, where they don't account for all the variable possible player positions from FaZe. And yeah, Ambi, he makes the play, push through the fire, take down the smoke player. But the initial push was a 2-2-1 take. 2 Freezer, 2 bottom Laundry, 1 person backside, either meeting hatch, big tower, outside double blue. That was Soniqs' attack and lineup positions. You see it here. And KDS, with 11 kills when that round starts, just holds down Freezer. He finds both kills. That's the entire half push from front side. Remember, 2 Freezer, 2 Laundry. The only way that attack works is if both Freezer and both Laundry, they succeed. Because otherwise, you're gonna be met with crossfires from the defense all of a sudden. And that's what happened. Ambi pushed the Laundry. Guess what? KD isn't Freezer. He swings Freezer. Ambi dies. Likewise, if Ambi would die, you lose Laundry control, they would push the Laundry rotate and kill the person in Freezer. Both fronts have to live and succeed on their mission. It's why most oftenly we see teams play a Blitz, a Monty, or an Osa when you go for a frontside execute, because you have those shields to keep your players alive, because it's not just about getting kills on attack, but holding on to map control in those crucial kinds of positions to allow your team to succeed. Now Soniqs, they've not been in a losing position this event so far. This is only map number 1. Things, of course, long ways to go. This is FaZe's map pick. It's not all that bad for Soniqs, but mentally speaking, this is still new to them. They've not struggled like this before. FaZe could have a great defensive side right now, winning 4 rounds in a row, 1 flawless, 1 almost flawless. Looking to make it 5 for 5. Just end things here. Soniqs' attack and win rate's gonna plummet after this one, that's for sure. And just like last time, Vidiking will be on the clash for the upstairs hold.
KDS has been spectacular so far in this matchup. Multiple multi-kill rounds, playing on high-value utility operators. And I mean, FaZe Clan, like so many of the teams that are here, and Soniqs you can even include in this conversation, have no shortage of tools at their disposal. The unsung hero so far, though, I would argue, has been Vidiking. He has been playing operators that undeniably enable the rest of his team to get picks. So while you look at him, he's 5-4-2. You might wonder what's going on. Well, there's the answer. Nitro Cell tossed out by Cyber, who from inside of Attic gets 2. He's had a quiet game, but almost draws to an even 7-7. He's sitting at 6 kills so far.
It's genius.
Soniqs now will have to deal with a clash at a disadvantage. That is dire.
That is indeed dire. IQ had grenades, no soft reach available, and they don't IQ scan because why would you IQ scan it? You got Maverick, just open up the wall. So pre-play C4 on the soft wall. Here's the touch, pops it, finds the second kill, and that right there, that's one of those rounds where that might just win FaZe the entire round, which also gives them the entire map because now you got Clash on the bomb side, you lost big tower control, and all of Soniqs are outside the building. 2 players outside big window, basically. They have no ground in the map.
Good news for Soniqs, though, is that even a loss here, you get to go to your map pick and maybe be a bit more comfortable on Clubhouse because a loss is certainly what it looks like. A flawless round denied as Grixer kills Handy, but on top of White Stairs, all of these kills will be impactless unless Grixer can win the round, stunning out on both the Clash and himself. As that disruption works, but for a short period of time, FaZe just need to wait out the final 30 seconds as Soniqs' hopes rest on their second best rated player, but this is a very tall task who will continue to be toyed with by the Clash. And the swing comes in, and it's Cyber with the Magnum to get the final kill. FaZe Clan win their own map in impressive fashion. And while they've already made main stage, they are a single map away from advancing to the semis. Excellently done on their part. We still got at least one more map to go, though, Nick, so we'll toss to a break and then come back with Clubhouse by Soniqs.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. What a close map number 1, but at the end, it's Brazil that takes it. FaZe Clan have recovered through it and proven that they're the best on Oregon, at least at this moment, today. But here we are to break things down on map number 1. I'm Milos, with me are Fresh and Fabian, and you're just in time for some more analysis. Friends, it looked like FaZe are not afraid to utilize any sort of strategy, down and dirty, to get the win.
I don't think they were. I mean, they played a lot of Clash and Monty, which I think that Soniqs struggled taking care of. They didn't seem to have the keys to unlock these tools, and a team as good as FaZe is, well, kind of a new challenge, Jack, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we talked about how they can change things round to round based on what they saw of their opponents. Their first couple of defensive rounds that they had, they managed to find early picks onto Soniqs. Now, when you read into that, what you go is, well, if Soniqs have had early picks against them, what are they going to do? They're going to group up more. They're going to be a bit slower, a bit more assured. Then FaZe switched the win condition. They switched it to time and late round. Lots of Goyo, lots of Clash, and presented Soniqs a different problem. Excellent stuff.
And with that ahead, those two shields with KDS just behind collecting kills at 15-6 on the board. Impressive, but that's just kills. We're not talking about the pure strategy behind it on its own.
Yeah, he's consistently one of the best players in the world playing around his team. As a unit, I think everyone on FaZe today was absolutely excellent.
Yeah, I mean, we can see both Souls and Cyber in the bottom, and where have we seen them on the scoreboard usually?
At the top.
Yeah, and that's what we mean what we spoke about before the game. The flexibility of this team is second to none. Like, I genuinely believe that they have the most flexible team in terms of players that can play operators, because they just have so many guys that just, yeah, we need this, I'll play that.
Well, there's one player that's actually been leading. We talked about them yesterday. We talked about them earlier on today, and it's Cyber. He is pretty darn good, I would say. And Fresh, do you want to hammer that home?
Yep, so we talked about in the pre-match, we talked about this flexible role that Cyber has where he sees an opportunity to just make a little bit of a quirky play. Leaves the wall soft on the attic. Ambi's obviously made a little bit of a mistake there on the IQ, not checking for the C4. Waits for the Maverick to blow up the hard wall, and then he blows up the C4. This is it, obviously, from his point of view, then follows it up with an unreal kill. And this is what we was talking about from Cyber, where he sees these opportunities, he makes those opportunities happen, and that was a 5v3 in that round, completely from an individual play that he is trusted to make within this team. And from there, the round was only ever going to go one way.
Yeah, and we saw the scoreboard just before, right? He was second to last.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 7-7 or 7-6, I think Souls had. So it doesn't really matter, but it's just that they have that overall team ability. You spoke about Ambi making a very small mistake, and that's what we were talking about before the game as well. Soniqs haven't been making these small mistakes. Ambi himself, I think, have had a little bit of a rough start to his day because, honestly, I think he's had quite low impact today. We're looking at his defenses. He didn't do much in the defenses until he got a flank kill that in the end didn't lead to much. And in attack, he only had one round really on a basement attack where he got 2 entry kills. I think we need more from him. I think he has that by far. Like, he's shown that he's got that. So maybe it's just time to wake up between maps.
But with kind of that afterglow of map 1 hitting everybody, including Soniqs, and especially that pregame that we hyped up Soniqs about it all, maybe we have to reconsider. Maybe it's just after one map. I mean, how tough, how stiff was the competition heading into this game that Soniqs were presented?
Yeah, I suppose that's one of the things that you can level at Soniqs is the level of competition they've come up against. They have not come up against a top 3 team, worldwide that would have punished them, realistically. Every team that they've played has exited the competition at this point. Whereas FaZe have played multiple teams such as, for example, G2 and, dare I say it, Bliss, who are still in the competition, right? So I think that was like this is like been the first big test for Soniqs. They've had the best attack, win rate coming into the competition. Didn't win an attack today. So they need to, cut up. They need to sharpen up on these mistakes. And they've got what it takes. They've shown what they've got what it takes. But they've been punished by a team, and they know they need to raise their level now.
Yeah, it's the next level step that they have to take now. And honestly, Soniqs didn't look that bad as it may sound that we're saying. They didn't. They actually looked very solid. Their defenses and their team play in the defense was actually really, really good. And the only reason that they lost one top for attack as well against FaZe is because FaZe are just that good. So we're talking about 2 teams that are at the absolute top. They're the absolute best, and they really showed it in that map. even if the scoreline, yeah, sure, 3 rounds apart, but I don't think it really reflected the game.
Yeah.
And with the absolute best, you have to be able to recover and take each map on its own. For that, let's turn to our map bans. We already went through map number 1, Oregon, going the way of FaZe Clan. Now we go on to Soniqs' big clubhouse, where FaZe start off on the defense. Fresh, I turn to you. What are expectations here?
So this is where it happens in a best of 3. You're supposed to lose your opponent's map pick. You're then supposed to win your map pick. Soniqs could not be on a better map pick for themselves. FaZe have 2 permabans. Clubhouse was always going to be open. Soniqs were always going to pick it because it's their favorite map by far. Lost it once across 10 plays in this year. 90% win rate on the map. They absolutely love it.
And the map in itself, I think, fits Soniqs a little bit better, because now we're going into a map that Oregon is very rigid in 1, 2, 3 steps. Sure, Clubhouse is also known to be a very rigid map, but I think you have more options on Clubhouse because you have different takes that you can take on the basement. Oregon basement is you have 2 options, front or back. Which one do you select? On Clubhouse, you have way more.
Well, now is the question for Soniqs. Like we said, a team at this level is supposed to be able to just snap and bring it back, right? But Soniqs, can they learn to stand against FaZe that are able to run shields? And shields is very common on Clubhouse also. Is that something that is going to come up again?
Monty Bang could be a potential here, because taking Monty basically anywhere really can enable an attack. I think that Monty is reasonable. Clash, maybe not so much of a reasonable ban on this map, because I think there are more options and more ways to take care of Clash here.
The big determining factor for me as to who will win this map and whether Soniqs can win this map will be that attack start that they have. The first 6 rounds are going to be huge, because we saw Soniqs be good on the attack on Oregon. Soniqs good on the defense on Oregon, but struggle on the attack. We saw FaZe good at both. So Soniqs need to level up on their attacks.
Well, you talked about the overall comfort that Soniqs has on Clubhouse.
Yes.
What would set them apart on the attacking side?
I think we're looking for Ambi to make that entry, make that step up in terms of the entry play, and then the play off the back of that. I think their attacks particularly, Soniqs attacks particularly, were a little bit disjointed. It was very small timing differences that other teams in this competition have not punished, but FaZe will. And that's where they need to level up, is 1, Ambi, 2, just be together.
I think there's one important thing to look at. You guys see on your screen the face cams, well, you don't see the face cams, but cameras on their faces, and they're not showing any sort of fear or any sort of worry. They're comfortable, they're happy, and I think that's going to be one of the main reasons. If they can show that, and I see it on their faces, they don't care about map 1. It wasn't their pick. Now the real game starts for them.
Map 3, yes, no, game's ready.
I hope so.
I think map 3.
All right, Fresh, Fabian, thank you very much. Our casters are ready, and Taro Pengu, take it away.
Well, FaZe win their map, and that's A-OK. So now Soniqs go to their map, and if they win it, then we are well positioned for an exciting best of 3. If not, then FaZe Clan advances to a highly coveted spot in this tourney. Now, I will say this. Both of these teams have already secured main stage. It cannot be said enough. They will both play in front of a crowd. The next time that either will be in action will be at the earliest Friday. I'll have to check the scheduling, because I believe the winner of this match also plays Friday.
I believe so.
Because Saturday is typically the lower bracket matches, and then Sunday happens to be, I believe, and I'm no grand finalsologist here, but I believe it's the grand finals on Sunday.
Okay.
You and I know, you and I have casted just a couple of them in our short time as a duo. We've casted some Six Invitationals before, just as we are doing here right now. Monty Ban was touted by the analysts. Will it come in? No. Capitao and Ying are banned, which means every shield operator is up for now. Clash could potentially be banned as a defender, so one shield operator could be removed. But I think we're gonna see some combination of, there you go, Azami, maybe a Fenrir. It's Clubhouse. A Kaid ban wouldn't surprise me either. What do you think's coming in?
Depends how they want to do it, because they love Instant Organs. I don't think Valkyrie is told us necessarily, but Mira, okay. So again, FaZe, they do want that intel game like previously, and I think it makes sense. Banning out the Mira also makes that base and bomb site just easy to attack when you gotta go for those. And if you don't intend to play the Mira yourself either, you might as well.
He switched mice.
Between games? It's Geo of all players, actually.
I understand like why you have the grip tape there, but it just looks so cursed.
It does.
You see people who get their grip tape and it'll perfectly match the mouse, and it looks so like aesthetic, and Geo just cuts strips and just places them down like a goddamn
They go like beyond the clicks too, I think, that you could rip them off from the edge.
Geo has an odd grip, and last I know, Geo actually leaned on his mouse.
Interesting. Oh yeah, I believe so.
Geo has lean bound to his mouse, not QE on his keyboard. He used to, at least. I don't know if that's changed, but way back in the day, it was A conversation that actually happened, I think Talon also had lean bound to his mouse back when he used to play on that old Onslaught slash Ronin roster. People were saying, oh, it's bad, you know, because when you press that button, it temporarily throws off your aim.
I agree with that, actually. Because the thumb is your only support for the left-hand portion of your mouse, and by wiggling between the two keys that you have on the side, you do lose mouse grip. So I wouldn't recommend it personally, but whatever works, you know?
I regularly play at somewhere around plat to gold elo in ranked. I haven't played ranked in a while, I will say that much. The last time I played regularly, I was sitting at around gold and plat, and I gotta say, it's far more comfortable, even if it does affect my aim. At gold and plat, your aim does not matter as much as it certainly does at this level. Honestly, I think you can get to gold with pretty poor aim, but very good game sense. Do what's most comfortable for you. Either way, Gio switching out mice is an intriguing one, that's for sure. He'll be starting on the Hibana as Soniqs begin this map on what I think is fair to say the unfavorable side. They picked it. So FaZe obviously opts to go onto defense of Clubhouse.
Yeah, while attack is more difficult, I'm a firm believer that if you're a good attacking team on Clubhouse, you can win a bunch of these rounds because all about problem solving. The attackers, with the attacker repick of course, they have so many different tools to conflict between to deal with those problems in their way. Also, Soniqs go from attacking on Oregon, where yeah, it was looking kind of rough for them, but they're already in the mindset of problem solving and going through those steps. So going from attack Oregon to attack Clubhouse might be the best way to make this transition naturally, so to speak. And so far in the first round, they've made pretty good pace. More than half the round to go. They're inside a bar, they figure things out, IQ Citizen is scanning away, and this is a prime example of what an IQ should be doing. You stand there far back with the scanner, and Citizen can kind of map the layout right now from above and safety, saying, there's a C4, don't go in there. Evil Eye, even from a kitchen plant, that's going to be dangerous. And Citizen is a very vocal player, can make these callouts and make decisions, guys. Let's not go for this particular attack because of these reasons.
This IQ is gaining huge value for Soniqs. Citizen will have the Commando in his hands, an excellent gun, one of the best guns on attack and one of the best guns in the game at the moment. It hits like a truck, has a relatively good rate of fire. You might be wondering why these hard breach are going around the hatch, and that's every single hard breach gadget has an explosive radius, right? You can see teams will set an exothermic charge down next to a hatch. None of the exothermic charge will touch the hatch, and the hatch itself will blow up. If you think there's an electric claw under it, shoot those X-Kairos, just the 2 pellets, take out the electric claw, and then the explosive radius will claim the electric claw underneath, and on the other side of it, you can then easily get the hatch. The hatch, though, remains solid inside a kitchen.
Yeah, Gio has 2 pellets, but he's left kitchen, so it's not going to get opened up, it seems like here, but it doesn't matter. They're just going to go through instead.
I think this is because Soniqs don't like where the clock is at. Ambi decides to pressure Souls, who dies to Grixer, not before Grixer is immediately refragged by KDS. Now it's Gio over in Moto. He's got 2 players lined up inside a church. Citizen sneaking his way in through pulse spot. The kills for FaZe. Right now, just too much. Rexton inside of blue as the remaining players of Soniqs are putting in good work. They've got 10 seconds left into a 2v2 as they pinch this FaZe defense, but FaZe is adeptly running away. Grixer taken out. It's been a king and handy to get the final 2 kills, and FaZe goes 2 for 2 at the end of that round. Round number 1 breaking in favor of the Brazilians.
Perfect position there in the 2v2 from FaZe. They recognize the diffuser on the ground. They will play inside a Moto and buy triple church breach and just lock down that single portion of the bomb site and say, you know what, you can't plant. You gotta come to us. You're in a really bad spot with no time on the clock. The big thing here though is, while Soniqs did not like the timer there, dropping about 37 seconds, Gio had 2 X-Kairos left in pocket. Only 1 more was needed for the hatch because sadly, when he did 4 pellets from the freezer door, one of them clipped the, I guess like the pantry unit inside the kitchen, so only 3 hit the hatch. That means the hatch doesn't get opened up. And the fact that the hatch is closed means that FaZe know the attack will not be coming from dirt, it will not be coming from kitchen as a primary execute scenario. If you can't drop the hatch, you can't attack from there. So the simple aspect of a hatch not being opened up, it gives so much intel away for free-to defenders saying, that's not going to be the focus point. So they all change their focus towards blue, towards Moto, and they stop Soniqs from advancing near the bomb site. And the devs kind of said this, they want to see Soniqs play more close together. Well, Diffuser was dropped by just Gio and Sadamoto with no backup, while the majority of the push was going to be blue and bottom main staircase. So all of a sudden we're seeing Soniqs not play close enough together, Diffuser's in a bad spot, and FaZe take advantage of that by positioning around it. Soniqs now, they've lost 6 rounds in a row, all of course on the attacking side. If you go from Oregon here into Clubhouse, it has to change at some point, otherwise things will start getting quite messy. And while they did look quite happy going into this, of course, you can't just keep losing round after round after round without being effective.
In terms of the way that this map plays out, it is tied for the 3rd most defender-sided map. Skyscraper right now at 69% of all rounds being won by the defenders. Oregon, which was just played, which was picked by FaZe Clan, that is 66%. And then Clubhouse is tied with Consulate at 61%. So you expect the defense to do well, and that's exactly what we are seeing through round number 1. Obviously, it's a very small sample size. Church Arsenal won over 50% of the time by the defenders. This bomb site in particular of Gym and Bedroom is actually 2nd most played on this map, which would be abnormal maybe a couple seasons ago, but with the way that CCTV and Cash has been hard to defend for teams, I can understand why they made this choice. Gym and Bedroom played 67 times. It's been won by the defenders 64% of the time.
Okay, punish there from Rexon. Soniqs, they baited. That was a pre-planned scenario. Hey, one guy hold the window, one guy drop down, get that free kill. They do just that. They got advantage on the windows. Might just go for a job in here, to be honest. They're looking very aggressive in these windows.
That vault out was maybe not as well advised as it could be. Geo finds a reinforcement that was sent up by FaZe Clan. Quite advantageous, but guess what? You're going to get blown up by impacts down below. Cyber's a little bit too quick for Citizen. Souls on the board with 2. Souls and KDS have been spectacular so far for FaZe Clan. You can never count out Souls, one of the best support players in the world. Though Grixer outduels him for this round. Damage is already done to Soniqs. They'll need to retrieve that diffuser. 3 players still upright for Soniqs. They've got all the Selmas remaining in 1 Adrenal Surge to pull off this execute.
Yeah, I mean, the Grixer with 3 flashbangs and 2 nades, they can force positions here, but they gotta use their util, not just their gunplay, to get a wing into this bomb site.
Ambi sitting on the stairs. There goes the grenade to dislodge one of these 2 defenders, but neither of them move a muscle. Vidaking knows what he needs to do. Handy also has the lineup on a separate position. They've lost control of stairs. Vidaking has to rotate over, but it's Rexon from the window, and just as we saw in the previous round, it's 2 players to seal the deal at the final moments. Man, Ambi is typing up a storm in chat right now. I do love live events because it's great to listen into the players and get the player cams as we see right now, but it does deprive you of the trash talk that happens. Ambi, of course, trying to rub in that round. Look at Souls here with these 2 nades. The Souls from down below potentially giving information. Cyber dies, but then Soul swings into this position. Citizen immediately kills him, though. Or it's Grixer, rather. Immediately kills him from this breach position. All the while, as we saw in the previous round, Soniqs wanted to spread out. They wanted control of that pull spot, bottom stairs, Moto, and Blue. And then they wanted to just kind of crush FaZe in between this tri-prong approach. It's very similar to what we saw on that site, but it actually worked this time. And honestly, KDS going on the jump out of the window, not expecting somebody from Soniqs to be actively watching it, gave Soniqs an opening that they took advantage of.
Yeah, imagine that was a 5v5 instead of a 4 versus 5 favoring the attacking side. That might play out very, very differently. There was a small mishap though, Geo getting injured, stalling out the plant, not of course going according to plan for Soniqs, but they figured out the problem, they slowed things down. They found those, the main switch control from Ambi. The nades got tossed out. Of course, he had the confidence to take those gunfights and shut things down on the staircase itself. Now we gotta see problem solving again. It's abandoned play. Maverick Torch goes out. A lot of damage onto Handy. A nice play here from Soniqs. Very small, simple things. But now the question is, will you torch the entirety of that wall or rotate Grixer on the rappel to breach it instead? Because you might just do that. The beauty of playing Mavericks is that you don't gotta deal with the Tuberau, the Bandit, the Mutes, the Kaid, etc. You will guarantee get the wall every single time, or at the very least, have a possibility of getting it every single time without being locked out by something like a Bandit.
Tuberau unbanned, meaning that, I guess unbound is also correct. You could use Tuberau, he's freed. Not anywhere near the prevalence that I thought. And will be a conversation that I'm sure can be had by the desk and also in content that is done after the event. as he pays pretty good value. Geo is taking a lot of damage and having some serious difficulty getting open that construction wall's exterior. Raptors control is so crucial for this bomb site. It is a huge part of the map that you need to hang on to. You can watch the breach, you can watch the opening, you can worry about what's down below and potentially being pushed from lounge, which also means that pushing red is a lot harder for the attackers. And it's KDS in this position, but excuse me, Citizen is in the site. Suddenly, Citizen finds 2 kills and he's sitting on top of the bomb chassis. Cyber's been downed as well. Diffuser in the hands of Geo. But right now, objective play is not the focus for Soniqs. They want the kills, baby. Now it's Handy to shrug off damage as he makes his way from red into cash. Souls is the only player on the team at full HP. This round not looking good for FaZe Clan. Cyber finished off by Ambi. To add to Citizen's 2-kill tally, this is an impressive start for the entry fraggers of Soniqs. Down goes Souls as a 3rd kill from Citizen comes in, and now it's up to Handy still in the same position. He knows exactly what he has lined up, but it's Geo who is attempting to get the diffuser down, who decides to take matters into his own hands and get the kill shortly thereafter. And Ambi is still typing in chat, non-stop. Ambi with over 10 messages in 2 rounds. What an impressive tally from Ambi. You don't see comments like that these days, okay?
No, okay, I mean, the mental warfare in chat right now from both Grixer and Ambi just talking so much smack towards FaZe, but they're not getting anything back right now. It's a one-sided trash talk war in the box. I gotta say though, the off-pace play from Soniqs twice in the round. First, we saw Rexon inside the garage with Ambi outside, trying to get the kill into Catwalk and distracting things, really making FaZe react to it. And then 20 seconds go by, nothing happens. Guess what? Second off-pace play here. Ben flies inside the window, gets 3 kills. And the more important, the more impressive part of this round is that no one from Soniqs ran into the bombs and saying, oh, we got this, let's get some kills and go crazy. Let's get it! Woo! Instead, they were all holding their angles, expecting the swings from FaZe, making them make the first move, and then punishing them. Soniqs was just holding angles. FaZe did all the work for themselves, running into those crosshairs.
There's the chat right there.
We're in copper.
Ambi averaging roughly 3 messages a round.
That's a stat.
That is a stat for sure. I know that some of the talent, including you, are playing in a Rainbow Six Fantasy League. I don't know if Jesse is tracking messages per round, but if that's the case, Ambi, who I believe is owned by Super, who actually drafted almost the entire Soniqs roster, must be handily winning that category.
I believe he doesn't have Rexon, but he has Cyber instead. Of course, both in play right here, so...
Oh!
Okay. All right.
He's not just doing the talking in terms of typing, he's also doing inside the server. Ambi walks in. Down goes Handy. The alibi was playing by Lounge, as Ambi now falls off of that active position inside of Stock, still holding onto the door.
I mean, he's locked in. You see it. He was talking a lot, getting that snap, the flick, the kill, and then Oregon, we might think it might have shook him a little bit. No, Ambi's here to play, and he's showing up.
I was actually a little surprised that the player that was highlighted on the desk was Cyber, because I felt that Cyber was actually one of the least impactful players back in map number 1. You see him right now at 0-3, and he's in basically the same predicament here now as Cyber runs out of strip. He's spotted, logic bombs go off. Soniqs now have that information, so they know that while Handy is down, they also have positioning on the Cyber, and he's effectively trapped unless he goes for rotate over towards Billiards. Geo runs through one of the Goyo canisters. His fire does some significant damage to him, but now inside of Moto, he holds onto that diffuser. Ambi dies to KDS, who's on the hunt from that position, but Geo shutting down Vidaking. KDS inside of blue. Takes him out of the action, and it looks like KDS actually got this kill through a solid wall.
Yeah, straight to the wall there. So Soniqs knew one guy was roaming, knew Cyber was weak, hit it instead, leaving Cyber inside a strip room. So now you're working the time here. If you wait too long, you will get flanked. If you go too fast, you might die to the side members. They're working against so many angles here from Soniqs.
It's really good value from the clutch drone of Citizen to give these calls. As now KDS asserts himself over towards Moto, but Cyber, as I said, he hasn't really been that impactful, but guess what? He returns to the bomb site, gets flashed out closer to the site, at least as KDS gets Rexon. This is methodical from FaZe Clan at this point. Soniqs do not do as effective a job to eliminate these roamers, and they are paying for it now. Citizens trapped inside of Dirt Tunnel. The name of this site in-game is called Escape Tunnel, as far as I'm aware. And Citizen really doesn't have much of an escape whatsoever. FaZe Clan can just throw bodies at the problem. Citizen Gets an impact nade to the face, but finished off by the SMG-11 in hands from Cyber, who gets 2 kills for his trouble. Ambi with a single message this time. We are on Ambi message watch. He said, very good round, KDS.
I mean, the problem there from Soniqs were very evident. They saw Cyber inside a strip club, and they were like, okay, let's leave him be. Citizen was holding his flank, and they said, you know what, let's just walk down main staircase. Geo does it, gets the kill, gets shut down, etc. The issue is, the Goyo canisters were popped, stalling out the attack inside. Cyber was no longer being held stuck inside a strip room, started flanking main staircase as well. So they're boxed in a really narrow position, and we see FaZe communicate that. Instead of playing far back on side, playing inside a blue, playing inside a church triple wall, they're all playing Moto, pushing bottom main staircase because Cyber was flanking from top main as well. So the net was really closing in there. Soniqs couldn't quite problem solve, arguably made the wrong decision due to the outcome of the round, but that could have gone either way had there been a bit more commitment there. People following Geo, for example, into Moto, going for the bomb site itself instead of getting locked out on the staircase. Tactical timeout was called very early on. Both teams consulted a coach and amongst each other, of course, to strategize the next steps to come. And of course, the FaZe, we're closest to 3-0, and if you're a Soniqs, Ambi really did get shut down, and the wallbang, I believe, here. Boop. That is how Geo died. Very, very unfortunate circumstance. We see the silhouette, Cyber flanking above, KD is down below, and KD is with another multi-kill in a round, starting things off just where it ended on Oregon for him.
Given the way that this map plays out and the numbers that we referenced all the way back in round number 1, FaZe Clan are, I don't want to say deeply unhappy, but are unhappy enough with the way that these rounds are going to call their timeout. It is a bit surprising to me that you use your timeout on defense, Nick, because you're going to go to attack on your opponent's map. So you're playing on a map that isn't your own. FaZe aren't a bad clubhouse team, but Soniqs obviously picked it for a reason. And you're going to go to the harder side, and you're not going to have a timeout to fix it. It's not like this is round number 6. It's round number 5, so there's still 2 rounds to go. But assumption, and I think this is a good one to make, is that FaZe probably talked about the next 2 defender rounds instead of looking towards attack. So what happens if you don't succeed here? You're going to go to attack, and you're not going to have any way to get yourself back in this matchup. It's definitely a gamble by FaZe. It would make for a good question if FaZe prevails. Why did you use a timeout here? Obviously, it will look like a masterful gambit, good sir, should FaZe turn around and win the next 2 rounds and ultimately win this series 2-0. Good time to remind you as well that for North American and European fans, there is another match going on the B stream. That's on the Rainbow Six Bravo channel. Virtus Pro and Dark Zero are in action. They're being casted by the Aussies of Guz Xenox, and boy, oh boy, do they have quite the match after that. G2 looks to hold on to their place here in Brazil, going up against an Australian team that has made top 8, which, no shade to Bliss, is frankly quite surprising given the power rankings coming into this event. Bliss have an opportunity to send every single European team home. And boy, what a show that will be. And the fact that the Aussies get to cast the Aussie team will be excellent.
In our game, though, not much has happened. Soniqs just breaching walls, gaining a bit of control. Ambi on his whole lonesome downstairs inside a bar. And FaZe is just putting up a really good disciplined round where they're not moving a whole lot. And it's important because when they were moving too much previously, they got caught off guard. Citizen drops the hatch, gets a 2K.
Where's this coming from? Not in terms of physical location, Nick, of course. Where is it coming from in terms of theory? But FaZe says, let's get a 2K of our own. Cyber narrowing these numbers down before Geo punishes him for that. Handy on low HP. The final adrenal surge that will be had is still going. A nice shot by Geo as Handy is vaporized. It's KDS now to drop the Nitro cell and run out of this position. Surrendered control of the site. He has no idea as to where these last 2 players are. Flashbang goes out. The Warden decides to run instead of engaging his smart goggles, and now Geo will go for a plant in a very similar position. Citizen holding the angle, and boy, oh boy, Ben does not let you win those whatsoever. Ambi types, W timeout, it really worked. And that's 2 messages this round from Ambi.
Oh boy. So the role change that occurred for Soniqs going into this event and picking up Ambi is that Citizen is now more on a little bit of a looser role on that flank watch where he has a bit more freedom. And yeah, like he was on floors that round, using the drones earlier, dropping down the hatch, but when Citizen is allowed freedom to make plays that he sees in the moment, that is when he is the strongest as an individual player for sure. We've seen him 2 rounds now on CCTV attack, jumping in a window, round victory. On offense attack, or Jim rather, drops a hatch, no intel, just drops clean down. Might have had intel previously, but either way, 2 kills, open things up. Cyber had a strike back towards Soniqs, but then Gio steps up. We spoke about that earlier. Gio, yeah, he's a hard support, he plans, but he's positive or neutral in injuries and plus-minus statistics. He shows up when he has to be. Ambi wrote 2 additional messages after they won.
We're on Ambi message watch,
So
by
it's
the way.
4 in that round.
Oh my goodness.
He's popping off. Now, the Monty was a big question mark. The desk, Fabian spoke about how he might imagine that either team will ban it. I had the same exact thought because Monty is very prevalent on Clubhouse. On every single bomb set attack, he is quite strong for getting map control, for getting a bomb down, and just for a team like Sonic and for FaZe, they like to bring Monty whenever possible. So it makes, it's no surprise rather that Gio will finally bring out this operator on the final 6th round because it also will change up the pacing of things. If you've been playing no Monty for 5 rounds straight, well, if you're defending as FaZe, you're not gonna expect the Monty in that final round. Citizen now on the half reach instead will pop the wall. Just like actually, no, Gio's better at it because Gio did not get impact tricked.
So, here's the thing. We have seen FaZe use these openings created by Maverick to impact.
They want the bigger breach. Wait, now they want the bigger breach. And if this gets impact tricked some way, somehow, it doesn't. Okay,
The only one impact remaining was in Cyber's hands.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was in a position to potentially stop
No,
this
he's
from going
massive
off.
room.
Yeah, he's on the other side of the map. I actually think he's on the first floor right now. At least from the top down, that's what it appears. No, he's upstairs. Silhouettes can sometimes be deceiving. You are correct, into his whereabouts. Gio now at half HP as he walks in, takes some damage through that garage door. KDS will have to watch below him. Part of the strength of this Azami ban from Soniqs is it will deny very favorable spots on defense for FaZe Clan. Think about how much harder Soniqs would struggle to take map control if there were Kiba barriers inside of rafters. And Handy would be a little bit safer as he engages. KDS not far removed. Now it's Citizen taking some damage. As FaZe Clan, uncharacteristically bad at hitting their shots so far this round. Gio eats the smoke. Down goes the ace of Rexon, who walks right in. Vidaking is very glad to greet him. It's Handy eliminating Citizen. It's Ambi floating inside of construction within striking distance of that cache bomb site. Grixer on red stairs means that a pinch could very easily come out, but he narrowly misses out on it. But Grixer gets one. Oh, that's all she'll write. Ambi, last alive, who's now taken up Grixer's position on red stairs. The 3 remaining players from FaZe can easily just hold their positions, and Vidaking slaughters him from inside of cache. 3-3 as we await an Ambi message in chat. I don't have the utmost confidence in FaZe Clan now as they move on to attack on Clubhouse, but crazier things have happened. Soniqs should have the better side now, and if you're a fan of the team in teal, you're hoping that they ride that side to a victory, and then we go to map number 3.
So people might be wondering what happened with the Monty there. Why didn't he go for a garage attack? Because there is no Samuel banged out by Soniqs themselves. Well, it's very simple. Monty had the attention of 2 players inside of Catwalk. But when FaZe realized that Monty, you see there, Monty's not really a real threat in this scenario, they start turning their attention from garage in towards top red and the main breach. So Soniqs, they tried to play the surprising game of, hey, we're gonna do something unexpected, but they did it in a way that was a bit too slow, one could argue, to the point where FaZe started realizing, hey, this Monty position is not the real push. No one's there to support him, no one's behind him, no one's nading us or flashbanging us. Ignore the Monty. You'll hear that shield go down, you'll see him ADS, then you can get the kill. So I don't fault Sonic for changing up the attacking style. I think it's smart to try and catch opponents by surprise, and it could have, would have, should have worked, but it didn't. It comes down to those opening duos where if you get swung or you get the swing, makes a big change in the outcome in those kinds of moments. Soniqs, when they can find the 2Ks from Citizen, they find their round success on attack as well. But when they don't find those injury kills, well, it gets mighty hard. So FaZe attack will bring a very similar lineup to that of Soniqs. The double heart destruction, FaZe and the Hibana, bunch of flashbangs, and of course the IQ to support the Buck here and ensure the safety of his whereabouts inside of Kitchen, because if you get C4 while destroying that soft destruction inside of Kitchen, well, you're in for a very bad time. So, we're gonna cover each other. Top-down attack from FaZe. They're gonna roam clear master bedroom, CCTV, they're gonna go into office, and one trick you have as Buck is, if you go into office, you can actually buck the floor from top floor all the way to kitchen and be, basically unkillable by C4s, so you're a floor above them. But Cyber drops down. He says, I want bar control instead. KDS gets jammed out in his drone on the entry, but FaZe, with only a minute into the round, have full map control, and they know that there are no roamers. It's pretty good pace.
I was going to say, good position to be in for the team. A reminder that the timeout from FaZe has already been used.
Detected.
IQ has to be one of the loudest operators, by the way. I've spotted a bomb! Remember when Twitch drone going out was like the loudest thing on the planet?
There's been a couple of different operators where they just scream. Like when Castle gets shot, he's like, whoa!
The Castle getting shot, like, cry is hilarious. Once again, another round where IQ is showing an incredible amount of value. Spotting Nitro Cells, spotting Valkyrie cameras, Razor Blooms, Magnets, Mute Jammers, and Electroclaws. Every single operator that Soniqs has brought is effectively countered by this IQ in some way. No secondary gadget beyond those Nitro Cells that you can really see, though, as there's no bulletproof cams and deployable shields obviously don't show up. Just about a minute to go. Now it's FaZe's turn to open up that kitchen hatch, and I don't believe they'll get it done as the Hibana dies. So they will have to go about it another way. No, I stand corrected. Those X-Kairos were actually enough to open it up. So a bit of a saving grace for FaZe, despite the fact that they've lost Vidiking.
Oh, that's massive. Good read from Citizen with no true intel. Just kind of guess to hurt the position, and you can say the Vidiking in an improper place to be because he was vulnerable to a C4 from below. You'd think when the camera is dead that they wouldn't go for those plays. But Citizen, he will. No C4s left now for plant deny. If FaZe can drop down the hatch, there's no way for Soniqs to deny. Besides Grixer in AK position, shutting them down on the drop.
And Grixer's flashed out as now Souls is dropped on in, has to evade the Razor Bloom. Not used for killing, but used for area denial. Now it's KDS to falter as well. Handy drops. Soniqs sitting pretty, watching all these angles. It's up to Handy to find 4 kills. And what? That's not even a crossfire. That's bullets from every single direction. Ambi with one message in chat. We're waiting more. Strong start to this half by Soniqs so far. They take the lead, 4-3.
You know, I watch these rounds, and I've been retired from play for 3 years now.
Oh, you watch?
Yeah, I'm watching these rounds, right? And I'm thinking, like, there is so many things to keep track of as a player. Like 3 years ago, which I guess granted is a long time, the game was pretty straightforward compared to now. You had IQ on the scanner KDS for the majority of that round, and still when Souls drops to go to the plant, there's a Razor Bloom. So like, you find both Valkyrie cameras, one you shoot, one gets grenaded, you spot out, you know, the bomb itself, etc., whatever, tons of utility, and then there's still things unaccounted for. And whether you're IQ scanning things or droning them, keeping track of things, it's just so much to keep track of. You know, this is not thinking about, what about Fenrir? What about Asami? You know, whatever, because one isn't played and one is banned. So, when mistakes happen, you think, oh, how can pro players make mistakes? Or how can you not check for basic things? Well, they are checking for 1,000 different things while having a phenomenal team up against them, pressuring them, roaming against them, killing their drones, etc., repositioning. It is not as easy as it might look from this picture point of view, which is what we see with the outlines and whatnot. It is much, much more difficult than that.
I think there was a part of the community that picked up on what they referred to as negativity through the first couple days of group stages, but I honestly think it was us calling matches as we saw it. The caliber of the games through the first 3 to 4 days of groups was uncharacteristically poor. Teams were making a litany of mistakes and playing well below their potential. Now, you and I discussed this, is that there was a pretty big sea change when it comes to this game. Defenders got very strong very quickly. Attackers lost some incredibly important tools. The defenders really didn't suffer for it whatsoever. Then you also had Tuberal get brought in, another very powerful defender. So we rightly pointed out that teams were making a lot of mistakes. As you've probably witnessed, as time has gone on and over the last 2 to 3 days, yesterday you and I didn't work, so we got to actually sit down and watch every match. Matches are getting better, and teams are improving on attack quite quickly. The rust is being shaken off, and now you might notice that there's a lot more that teams are doing well. And so far, neither of these teams have really been committing a lot of mistakes. Yeah, there's obviously been some missteps. Every team is going to commit that, even teams that win world championships. But so far, FaZe and Soniqs have looked very evenly matched. Handy picked off from what sounded like it might have been a one-tap from Ambi.
Pretty nice.
Trying to figure out exactly what was going on with Handy there. How is a Hibana dead so early on? Where did it come from?
Good question. Might have been out to the breach swinging in. Cyber the Maverick flash going out, but there's surely no way. As Citizen actually swing, but a trade there from Soniqs again, showing up together to menace the most.
Ambi holding this powerful position on top red, but Soniqs are winning their duels. Cyber, who's been very quiet so far for his team, a bit out of step with the way that we've seen him deployed before, still trailing that 100 mark. 5 kills, 6 deaths. Soul's a kill onto Geo. Grixer on very low HP. But there's Grixer down below. Play going down. Oh, but he killed by Souls, who bails off at the last second. It's all up to Ambi, who started the killing, but Cyber will prevent him from getting more than the 2 kills Ambi got to start with. Tie game again. Do we call a timeout here if we're Soniqs, Nick?
No, I think based on how that round played out, I don't think there's any cause for concern. Soniqs basically won the round and then they lost it. They didn't just lose it outright. And I gotta say, phenomenal play there from Souls. He is, when he first came to the Brazilian scene and got a name for himself, people called him the Brazilian Bride. Because Bride would play like smoke, he'd play hard support, but be in every clutch, get incredible amounts of multi-kills, and just play those smart positions the right way. And we see Souls with a very, very small decision there. Oh, just click the window. Nice one-tap, by the way. He plants very, very close to the hatch, where if Geo just walks up, you might even see him plant, but he does it because he can get it off right here, boop, baits it in, and goes to the kill. It is perfectly set in motion from Souls as the judge, jury, and executioner of that play, and it opens it up for FaZe. They get the 2v1, the cover's there from Cyber, and they cannot get the clutch in that round. That is with the opening kill to Handy. That's a 4 versus 5 from FaZe. With 2 members win the entire round from just Jacuzzi Breach walking in, and that is it. Very impressive stuff. FaZe, of course, very consistent organization throughout various rosters. They entered in 2018, and they've made us, more events than I can count. They've won events, they've gotten second places, they've been top 4 in the majority of the events they go to. Rarely do they ever get grouped. And they are here again. They're locked in top 8. Of course, they want to go further and further and further and stay in that upper bracket. But this is the FaZe that we know and love.
An eruption has occurred over on the B stream as we hear Guz and Soniqs losing their minds. And I believe I heard the word Bolo. Oh, suddenly everybody watching the stream's ears are perked up. Bolo. Bolo and Dark Zero are in action on the B stream right now. Some of the best of NA are going up against some of the best of Europe as Virtus Pro and DZ are battling. Both their matchup and this matchup are occurring in the upper bracket. The winner of DZVP will go up against the winner of FaZe Soniqs. If you are a fan of the eventual losers of that matchup and this matchup, fear not, none of these teams will be going home at the end of today. However, that same cannot be said about the matches we have later. You and I will be casting W7M versus Space Station. The defending major champions versus an organization that has actually won the Six Invitational. The loser of W7M, SSG, goes home. SSG has an opportunity to prevent W7M from winning every single event in the calendar year. Both teams will go to battle later. And then, of course, on the other broadcast, it's G2 versus Bliss, as you and I mentioned earlier. But before we get there, let's deal with FaZe Clan versus Soniqs, because for this round, after FaZe Clan just prevailed, they'll start off round number 9 quite well. Rexon, who's been a huge threat for Soniqs, and is playing a very crucial operator, will be no more as he's picked off.
They got the Monty now, catwalk control, getting up, hop reach on the wall, and this means that when they want to, they can get in there and plant. We know from the hot, Grixter on Bandit with a single C4, that is it. So even if Vidiking or Monty walks in and dies to C4, someone else can walk in afterwards and plant, and then there's no denier for Soniqs. They have to lash out, go for a flank, play below, or do something proactively, because they do not have enough plant deny for this.
45 seconds, Vidiking baiting out a plant. He could have stuck it, but Grixter very wisely reads into this, doesn't bother to engage. But you have to do something if you're Soniqs, because now you've lost Geo. The numbers are not favoring you. Nitro Cell goes out, Citizen is gone as well. FaZe are marching their way towards a flawless round with the way things are going right now. Grixter swinging desperately onto the breach. Ambi is there as well with 1 kill, unsheathing the sidearm, but he's toasted by KDS. And just like that, FaZe win 2 in a row.
There it is, the Scream back some souls and a perfect round from FaZe. They had so much time on their side because of how effortlessly they took catwalk control, walked in, and Vidiking. I'm always very critical of Monty play in professional leagues because we see people make mistakes, play Monty quote-unquote incorrectly, and not get the full value. But Vidiking got so much in that round. Early in, fakes the pants a couple of times. His mission there was not to get the bomb down because they had 50 seconds left, just to try and bait out the C4. Once that is gone, he knows it is a done deal. It is a safe round for them. So he fakes it, gets off, fakes it, gets off, and his teammates are getting kills around this because they know Soniqs have to react one way or another. When you play CC, either the clock has to run very low for the attackers to force a round victory on 0 seconds, or you gotta have a tremendous amount of plant deny, echo, C4s, you name it, or you gotta get kills at some point in that round. Soniqs had none of that. Not enough plant deny, didn't find any kills, and the time was on the attacker side. There was no real win condition for them because FaZe were so quick. And look at this. This is how you get catwalk control. It's because Rexon swings the breach outside. You don't have those keeper barriers. You're just not safe on rafters. And we see FaZe getting 3 different kills from outside spawn into the building, from Rexon peeking the breach, and from below holding down the flank. So they're covering all their bases while the plant also is going down. FaZe in full control.
I always appreciate it when teams that don't speak a common language yell at each other because, nobody speaks English. Or nobody speaks Portuguese, rather, on the side of Soniqs. FaZe Clan, as far as I'm aware, all the players have a working understanding of English. Some of the players speak it better than others, but there was a hilarious tweet by Drip Boolin. And it might surprise you to say that I don't like quoting tweets on broadcast, but Drip's tweet was especially funny, and I read it to you, where it said, the Soniqs don't speak Portuguese, Ambi barely speaks English. And obviously these are friends joking with one another, so it's not inviting hatred of Ambi, but I did think it was quite funny. And it's like you get a team that speaks Portuguese and you get a team that speaks Japanese, and they're yelling at each other. It's like neither of you can understand what you're saying. So oftentimes what people overlook is that it's more about getting yourself in the game, right?
That's it. That's it. I mean, also, yeah, players, they can hear a little bit, but it's just clutter stuff. You can hear background noise. Not that you can make out exactly what enemy is saying at all times. Soniqs, they need a round. They go on defense, they play 3 rounds, only won a single one so far, and I would say FaZe have been looking like they were the ones in control for the majority of the first map, and also with this, now here on Clubhouse. They're gonna be on a slow start. They want to drone every corner of the map. No one's going to get past FaZe's drone phase here because if somebody's hiding from Soniqs, they could go for a flank later on. We know someone like Citizen loves to make those kinds of plays. FaZe have studied that. They're ready for it. Valcam's in position. No IQ this time. Your droning has to be excellent.
Thank you for pointing that out because that was about to be my next point. Yeah, it seems quite simplistic to just look at a single operator and say, hey, there's no IQ. That's a bit odd. It's really going to hurt them. But in this case, again, you can highlight the operators here. Every single operator being dropped by Soniqs is spotted by IQ's gadget. You get immense value from that operator, but FaZe have opted to bring a different lineup. Again, that falls on the shoulders of them to drone properly. And for a team like FaZe, they don't usually have struggles with droning, so that is A-okay.
Yeah, I would say going back when Brazil/Latin was first introduced to international play, they were known as the best region to drone and get that kind of intel. They wouldn't play IQ. They would just drone every corner of every room, find those Valcams, organically, naturally, and just shut them down. Whereas in Europe and North America, if you didn't have IQ, you wouldn't find the Valcams. FaZe, been around for a very long time. They know how to drone, how to get that done. They got a minute left now. Geo inside the third, seeing, did they breach this wall? Okay, no they didn't. So he can say to his teammates, guys, they're not gonna come third. Focus on Kitchen Edge, Blue, and Church triple wall. FaZe have not exposed their full attack right now. They're spread across 2 bottom main, 1 motor hatch, 1 blue. But Cyber, he's sending it down the hallway.
He's just rushing right in, and Citizen falls by the wayside. Cyber's attempt is met by Ambi, punishes him with the TCSG, pivoting towards KDS and doing the same thing. He might be nearsighted, but Vidaking actually pulls off that kill. Ambi and Grixer combined for all the kills in that round. And despite when FaZe called their timeout, Soniqs win the round right after theirs. And we have an Ambi message in the chat. EPS, KOST, KD. What about MPR? Messages per round. Let's track that stat on to Ambi, who's seemingly having a blast with talking-ish against the Brazilian squad. 5-5 means it's my favorite round, Nick.
It is the penultimate round where one team will go on match point. If a FaZe wins, then of course they go in series point because they won the previous map of Oregon. Ambi being an anger player, not all that confident. He finds 3 kills in that round, plays so well. And honestly, positioning-wise there, no mistakes from Soniqs. They had the read, they were ready for it, they recognized where the push was coming from. Excellent stuff from them. Now, I went back and looked at some patterns, if there were any for like any of these orgs, you know, in terms of placements, how they do, how consistent they are. And Soniqs have this kind of fun thing where, going back to Invite 22, they place top 6. Then they go to Berlin, they get grouped, they go out really early. They go to Jönköping, they get top 4. They go to Invite 23, they get grouped. They go to Copenhagen, they get 4th, losing to the winners, W7M. They go to Atlanta, they get grouped. We are now here at SI. The previous round of Atlantic Major, they didn't go very far. They got grouped. That means, by the numbers, by this pattern, that they will make at least top 6 or higher. And they're in the upper bracket right now. They're basically guaranteed a spot right now. Soniqs, of course, if they lose against FaZe here, will go to lower bracket. They're still in the tournament. They will play on main stage, but they have followed their patterns of doing really good for one event and not so good the next.
My reading of the bracket is that if FaZe loses here, they play W7M. Should, of course, W7M beat Space Station. Which would mean that the 2 Brazilian teams, the last 2 Brazilian teams remaining, at least will guarantee one a longer run. Because if it's 2 Brazilian teams, one of them has to win.
It's true.
But both Brazilian teams playing in the same matchup on main stage would be very intriguing. It must sting for Brazilian fans that we have seen this region dominate for the last 2 years, maybe even 3 years if you want to go that far back, because they have consistently made it to the top 4, to suddenly fall apart in a defender-sided meta, and once we finally return to their home soil, the first time in 4.5 years to have such limited representation when there are other events when 4 Brazilian teams have been in the top 8.
Yeah.
I would be bummed out as a fan, but I believe there's a phrase for that, and it's way she goes, baby. Ambi will have to spend his time typing in the server for the next 1.5 minutes as he's the first one to die. Cyber now starting to heat up as this match goes on. Citizen will tussle with a member of FaZe, and Soniqs almost lose 2 players in very short order, though Citizen does get away. Vidaking holding on that diffuser. He's the only one on the side of FaZe who's taken any damage. 1 minute left in round number 11.
Yeah, and Souls can make the call that Citizen is indeed back on side, so they know all 4 players' positions now from FaZe's side of things, and they know they got this problem solved, but now Soniqs, they recognize we don't get any plant deny, we gotta go for the swings. Rexon does that on office rotate, gets shut down by Cyber, and now things look worse and worse for the defenders. You want as many guns available here as possible. There are so few injuries in on June bedroom, so the more people that fall, the worse it gets.
And Grixer's found an opening, and he exploits it! He picks up 2 huge kills, technically 3. Geo wins the round to seal the deal. And Soniqs will stun FaZe in what could be that penultimate round, moving to map point.
There's no way. I mean, Grixer, he has this thing about him where, yeah, it's over, you know, it's not looking good, and all of a sudden, Superman performance time. I'm gonna swing this door, I'm gonna get the kill, but I'm not done yet. I'm gonna jump out the window and find 2 kills to follow up, making it 3 in total. And Soniqs, it looked like FaZe had the read on them, because when they were swinging out, they were holding those angles, they got the first kill, but then they didn't expect the second swing. Like, they're all out of juice. They can't take this kind of risk. We've seen that before this event, where attackers will have a significant advantage and stop holding those passive angles. And the timing here as well, as Handy goes on the rappel. Grixer. That might just be what could send us to our third map, because now Soniqs just need one more round.
Let's go, Analyst! Let's go, Analyst!
Either take it in regulation 7-5, or FaZe take us to overtime, where Soniqs will have another shot at taking us all the way to bank. They can choose the bomb sites. Well, they go to CCTV. Bar not in action here. And last time we saw them defend this bomb site from Soniqs, it was over very quickly. FaZe got catwalk control in about a minute and 10 seconds, and that was over. Basically a flawless from FaZe. Yeah, some people died, but there really weren't many ways that could have gone better for them. Soniqs, they have to have addressed that issue if they want to go back here. So guys, priorities. We cannot lose catwalk control that early. We gotta stall for time. Guys, let's prep in case the attacker we pick onto Monty. That's why Rexon's a smoke on catwalk now. And we got Gumans and Gio as well. And then we gotta stall for time, right? That's another win condition. Citizen on Tuberao. So time is gonna be better, and Monty could deny, although not being played, is there for them as well.
Cyber holding on the diffuser to start off with is a bit of a choice.
It is certainly a choice.
The deployment that they have with Cyber is not necessarily in that get the diffuser down support-oriented role, though the numbers for FaZe have actually been quite interesting. Cyber has been the third highest rated player on the team, perfectly in the middle. The timing? It's been Souls and Handy, speaking of Handy, as the top two performing players on this team. But an early pick from Handy to get rid of Ambi means the likelihood of us seeing overtime has just gone through the roof. But of course, you can never count out the Soniqs. This is their map. This is their favorite side. Even down one, there's still a good shot that they win.
Yeah, they had 3 win conditions. Below performance and roam/flanking, time deny, and plant deny. They just lost the first one there. The roam is gone. The verticality from Solus plant deny is also gone. Toxic Babes, once been used, second one follows through with half the round to go. So statistically speaking right now, Soniqs are losing their win conditions relatively quickly and are again kind of forced up against the wall. And with that, Citizen will go for a swing or get shut down swung by Souls, and FaZe are looking for another flawless CCTV attack.
And they're about to get it. Gio is well off site as he now rushes from bedroom through construction to confront whichever player from FaZe happens to cross his path first. FaZe now bull rushing up red stairs, and Gio had so many targets he could have pushed. Now it's KDS to get the diffuser down. Gio looks that way, and it's a flawless round from FaZe to send us to overtime.
Oh boy. I mean, it's a tough call there. Either you go CCTV or you go to Bar that you've not played yet in this matchup against FaZe. And Bar bomb site is very commonly played in Brazil, where not that common in North America or Europe in comparison. The opening here though, this here timing aspect, Handy and Ambi walking next to one another. Citizen died through the drone hole as well from Souls. Look at how these players are dying right now. Then is a round that FaZe stole. Every single kill coming seemingly out of nowhere and effortless as well. Drone hole, vertical play, timing and catwalk jumping down, and of course the opening FaZe, they got the read all across the map, and they get rewarded. 6-6 overtime. Soniqs, they will stay on the defensive half and FaZe on the attack. Where they start, they will play 2 of the next 3 rounds. And you need to win 2 of the following 3 rounds to take it here. Either, of course, you can win 8-6 or 8-7. Operators are staying the same. Ambi and Bandit not Kaid this time to trick that triple wall actively. Whereas Kaid more of a stalling for time. It can get EMP'd, they disappear. Bandit can now denied for sure against those Selma charge of Handy. And FaZe will not change the operator lineup either. There's no IQ. There's a Grim instead. Same gun, different gadget.
Gonna drop a cliche. This is where the rubber meets the road.
It's true.
For both teams, in fact, but stakes obviously much higher for Soniqs, as if they lose their own map, which is this clubhouse map, that's it. Down to the lower bracket they go. FaZe Clan advance to the upper bracket finals. where they will go up against the winner of DZ versus VP, and if they win that, they go into the grand finals at that point, in which you wait for the winner of the lower bracket in that best-of-5 series that will be played on Sunday in front of what we hope is the biggest crowd that we have ever seen in Rainbow Six Siege history. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that distinction right now is held in this country. It was the Rio finals that had the biggest crowd, and the aim is to top that with Sao Paulo. As far as I know from ticket sales, if everybody shows up, we will indeed have a new record, which is quite impressive, frankly, for an esport that is in its 8th year. Just goes to show you that Brazilians really do love this game. You can see the passion from the teams. Another Brazilian team will be in action later today. W7M will be casted by you and I on this very stream after this match. W7M have won both majors so far this year. Started in Copenhagen, then went to Atlanta. They finished in the finals, losing to G2 at SI last year in Montreal. But SSG has a chance to stun the world by sending one of the favored teams to go all the way home. Either way, the winner of that matchup will need to run the gauntlet as they go through that lower bracket. Here and now, both Soniqs and FaZe Clan have looked superb, and both can have a very credible argument as to why they are the best teams at this event. 2 rounds, potentially 3 rounds, will determine if FaZe Clan is the better team or if we need a third map to decide it between them and Soniqs.
You see the pressure mounting here. Both teams playing very slow, no risks being taken. No one's swinging, no one's going for those fights. FaZe breaching hatches, setting things up. Blue push again from Cyber, but no one's there from Soniqs.
Cyber finds an opening. Vidaking walks in, takes out Grixer. Geo cannot stop him with the evil eye. Nice shot from Cyber as it's a 5v3. 30 seconds to go. Citizen far enough. Back swatted away at by Cyber, who is just looking superb. But there's Ambi to swing on. Oh, beautiful play from Ambi now as he's killed inside a Moto. It's Geo with the Alda in hand. He can mow through the final 2. He starts with 1, but he misses on Desoul's. A misplay from Geo as he on ADS's. And the punishment from FaZe means Soniqs are now on the razor's edge. FaZe Clan moved to series point.
He must have thought he got the kill there. He's gonna flick away for the second, but he realized too late that he needed 1 more bullet. Soniqs, some rounds will go their way when they clutch out, and likewise, some rounds will go to the opponent when you mess up, or they will be the ones to clutch. Ambi and Geo almost put up a 2 versus 5 in overtime, but FaZe, they hold on strong with so many bodies. You can't take down them all. We see here Vidaking walking in through the door, getting the opening. Cyber, nasty flick. Yeah, the Grim Beasts are there for the spot, but still, the accuracy with the mouse to get that kill and follow things up on the Warden as well. Pixel perfect precision, and that opened things up for the attack inside. Souls, of course, on Thatcher. He will not lose those. 7-6. Soniqs map pick. They've not had the same stable kind of performances previously, and I don't fault them for it. FaZe are expected by Manny to make the grand finals and make top 4. Soniqs come into this, big question mark. Are they better with Ambi? Are they worse? Will they be the same? How well will the individual players perform? And will they make any drastic changes in roles going into this? Well, Ambi's looking mighty fine. The roles were indeed changed. Citizen back on what I would say like his old EU performance, putting up ridiculous numbers back on that flank watch rather, or flex role. And things have been working out quite well for them. But they did have an easier path to this position by having opponents in a bracket that just were filled with more of the teams in the bottom than the top. But that's not to downplay Soniqs' success. They've played well, but FaZe is their first massive obstacle at this event so far. If they were to lose this round, they would go the distance on the second map and try the hardest on the first. It wouldn't be a bad way to go. And of course, they're not gonna be going home. They go to the lower bracket with 1 more chance.
A little cheeky angle being held. I hope the desk highlights Cyber this round. In this particular map.
Reloaded.
Win or lose, I think you can talk about the impact that Cyber has had. The impact he had was small but significant in the previous map, but again, Cyber's numbers are not where they usually are. He holds is it the best of 5 kill record, I believe. It was set in Yavla, if memory serves me correctly.
It might be, yeah, it might be.
There's a lot of records to keep track of. We saw a record broken, actually, the other day. You and I casted a KZ, setting a record for best of 3 LAN kill record, and his team still lost. You're playing ranked and you carry your team, just know that a player can literally get the most kills ever in a LAN best of 3 in this environment, and his team will still lose. You are not alone.
A tough one. And now, what could be the final round? Soniqs, they're doing the hardest thing possible. Overtime match point, you're on attack. You need to problem solve. You need to get down the diffuser. You need to go for swings. You need to have confidence, but also knowingly that if you mess up and if you make the wrong play, you will lose this map, you will lose this series, you are going to lower bracket. Gio on the Osa with diffuser in hand, that's gonna be the plant position for sure. Likely, for what we're seeing right now, they're gonna try and clear all that utility, drop down the kitchen hatch with the Osa shield in hand, and try and establish a plant here. But they are evil eyes. Meister cameras deny. 5 defenders alive still with 35 seconds. Gonna be a slaughter.
I mean, Gio's probably gonna drop with the shield in hand. There's Grixer down first. Gio looking for a play. He wants a line of sight. Cyber the very first kill. Smokes to greet the players from Soniqs as they go to drop through the hatch. 20 seconds left. Grenade go out, but Soniqs win their duel against Cyber. Vidaking taking damage as well. Gio has managed to get out relatively unscathed, but now will choke through the gas. Killed from pulse spot. FaZe paying getting on the action, but Soniqs turn the tide and send us to round 15. An impressive recovery given the circumstances. Frustration from Soniqs. They know what's at stake. A 15th and final round between these teams. Soniqs are not going to get away with winning this map easily if they win at all. FaZe go to attack. Soniqs on to defense.
Oh my god, was the right way to say it there from Rexon and Grix, because what even happened in that round? I saw Gio drop, I saw Gio die, and all of a sudden a spree of kills go out, and out of nowhere, Soniqs they win. Ambi dropped the hatch with Gio. I was thinking that's not necessarily the right play here, but he got a 2K. Bottom main stairs, Citizen as well gets the 2K. Not the strongest positions, not the ideal scenario. Things were not looking good for the plant to go down, but sometimes all you need are a couple of kills. So we see here, Grixer losing his mind and then realizing, oh wait, there's one more round. He's like, listen, we're gonna go basement, we're gonna go basement. And then they talked about the operators, the strat, and the change up. Often we see teams in overtime, they are just slower. Because the pressure is higher, you cannot afford to make mistakes. Soniqs, they executed with 30 seconds left. If FaZe, they come into the same kind of scenario, planting with 30 seconds left, well, you're up against a smoke, you're up against an echo. That's a lot of different kind of plant denial that might make things very difficult. So, Soniqs are playing the clock here, they're playing like it's overtime, they're playing for a different win condition than last time on basement. There's only one downside. They do have less utility in some ways, because when you're playing something around the plant deny, well, you have to also get the entry denial. That's why Citizen is on the Fenrir. If you walk down blue, walk down main staircase, walk in third, whatever your priorities are, a Fenrir mine might be there to spot you out, near side you, and make you unable to push forward. Wamai, Magnus here from Rexon to protect the players from any possible nades or a flashbang to stall things out further. So a lot of utility being brought out, but at the same time, you cannot really risk losing any of these defenders. So your goal, have everyone stay alive for as long as possible, get to that like 30, 40 seconds where all the passive gadgets and active gadgets have been utilized, all magnets have been charged up, then Rexon can throw his life away as he has to, Ambient Bandit can throw his life away as well. Same with Citizen, but Gio and Grixer, they have to stay alive as Echo and Smoke.
Just a brief update on what's going on the other stream. For those of you that want to know, spoilers inbound. Close your ears for about 10 seconds or so. DZVP is heading to map number 3 after DZ went up 1-0. VP have clawed it back. And a third map will be required between these two titans. Same can be said for Soniqs and FaZe, providing Soniqs ride out the favorable side here on Clubhouse and prevail on this church defense down below. But so far, the attackers have done quite well in overtime.
That they have. It's a big surprise. We know FaZe, they love this blue attack, but surely they cannot do it 3 times, right? It's gonna be a bit of fake here. Church wall opened up, 1 member in blue. We don't know where the exact push is coming from.
There goes all of this church wall, by the way. 3 Selmas tossed out. And that means that Ambi has to hit the deck. Taking out a C4, throwing it. The explosive does not net what he wanted. Now it's Cyber to come in through blue. Sees Tracers over his head. The Bees are there to hold down these players from Soniqs, but none find their marks. Handy striking first. Down goes Ambi. Grixter is gone as well. 3 players from Soniqs remain. Their run in the upper bracket, hinging upon the remaining players as Cyber's now worked his way into the bomb site. And he sees the Wamai, down he goes. Could it be a flawless round? Yes, it is! Cyber taking no prisoners. And FaZe Clan taking both maps as they move to the upper bracket finals. A Brazilian team going deep in Brazil like it was written in the stars. FaZe Clan have been so good in this map, and this match has been no exception. They beat Soniqs 2-0.
Mind you, that FaZe are breaking hearts of fans right now. They beat out G2, sending them to the lower bracket, now beating Soniqs, doing the same exact things, which showing how consistent they are throughout the many years in Siege. Despite different roster iterations, they are here to stay, and they will represent Brazil in the upper bracket, so they get one more shot before even going down to lower. They have 2 games on main stage at least.
Absolutely. So the Brazilian fans will have something to cheer for. Fans around the world who support FaZe Clan, who might not be based here in Brazil, also have something to cheer for. If you don't know how the bracket works, Soniqs are not gone. They go down to the lower bracket, but we got the desk to talk to our winners.
Congratulations to FaZe Clan, who take down Soniqs, but those 2 squads, or at least Soniqs specifically, have not been eliminated just yet. They'll be dropping down to the lower bracket, and we'll talk about that in a second. But here, joining us is FaZe Clan with KDS.
Hello everyone.
How you feeling?
Amazing. Top 3 in the Six Invitational in Brazil. It's amazing.
How does it feel now that you're going to get to play on stage? You were already set to play on stage, but you're going to have an advantage going into it. You're close to getting to the final. How does that feel?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the first time I play Six Invitational with the crown, and in Brazil, it's amazing, the feeling.
Fabian?
So far, you've played obviously Soniqs, G2, and lost 1.
Yeah.
That is a very tough bracket to get through. What is it that makes you guys just so good at competing against these top tier teams and just always win?
I think what we are gonna do is continue to play aggressive, like sometimes, or other times just waiting, then getting the free kills. And I think that is the thing we are doing, and playing happy and confident with the team.
On top of that, you say opportunity taking. It seems like you guys have adaptations to almost everything that your opponents are doing. It's like you have this perfect understanding and reading of this is the next move that we have to do. Is that because you guys have so much trust in each other and you believe in each other to always make the right decisions?
Yeah, for sure. Like in the round we play, I think Oregon.
Yeah.
I just go in the white stairs with the drone. If I got killed, fine. If I'm not, we don't care, you know.
Yeah.
We just play our game, and I think this is the best for us.
Yeah, and you love each other. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
Honestly, that camaraderie really does show in FaZe and the entire squad. You trust one another. I think it's very important to do that. Now, with this victory, anything you'd like to say to all the fans out there of FaZe and of yours, and you can do it also in Portuguese. Here's to camera 4.
Thank you everyone to support FaZe and send messages. We are working a lot to win this Six Invitational, and yeah, that's it.
In Portuguese?
No,
it's fine.
English. No.
It's English. Good enough.
Look at him. It's not Portuguese fans. Anything though to the Brazilian fans who are going to see you on Friday?
Espero que todo mundo aproveite o tempo no Ibirapuera. Vai ser grande evento e é isso.
Thank you very much, KDS.
Thank you.
Congratulations, FaZe Clan. They move on, defeating Soniqs. Thank you again, and good luck in the rest of the tournament. There it is, our match summary, 2-0 between FaZe and Soniqs. However, you flip a coin and maybe this game goes the complete opposite way from one moment to the next, yet still fresh. FaZe, incredible performance in that max OT.
Absolutely, and I think I've got probably the weakest analysis I've ever done. They've all got the same trainers on and it's in the FaZe colours. And that's why they won. It's very simple.
Oh yeah, there it is. Let's head to a break, shall we?
Yeah. In reality,
good at hosting.
this team is so good at changing their playstyle within round.
Yeah.
Within round to round, but within the round, they can change what the outcome is and what their win condition is. Add on to the fact they've got some of the most incredibly talented players on this game, and they punish every mistake that the opponent makes. They're looking like probably the favourites right now.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I'm trying to find their problems, like their mistakes, but it's almost impossible.
We sit and look there, don't we? And we're like, how can we criticize them? What's their weakness?
There isn't one, because they just keep going. And if they lose a round, they have the adaptations for the next one, or completely just pull another strat out of their hat. They just have answers to everything. They truly have the master key to everything that their opponent puts in front of them.
If FaZe is stumping both Fresh and Fabian in this, I really wonder what sort of analyst or coach on the other side that are going to play FaZe later on in the tournament, how they're going to find those weak spots and be able to fragment them themselves.
And it's just the mentals. Like, if you look at the teams that I just mentioned to KDS, which teams have they gone up against? It's some of the greatest teams that we have still in the bracket. And they just, nope. We're here to play, we're here to win, and that's what they're doing.
I think one round really exemplifies this, which is our Intel play the game. Play of the game, bring it up. Here it is. And that dive here, you'll see from Cyber. Look at it, perfect positioning, Fresh.
Yeah, he played this round exceptionally well, and this is one of the things about basically everybody on FaZe, but especially him. Some of the shots that he hit inside of this round was just absolutely exceptional. Soniqs thought they had this round won, and then just Cyber just turned up, bang, bang, changed around again, and that's exactly what he does. That shot onto the shield, nuts.
Yeah.
Like,
Listen to behind the shield, that one is nuts.
It's when, like, we say FaZe don't really strategically. Obviously, they don't win every round, don't get me wrong. But sometimes you don't strategically win a round, and then you've got a player that pops up and just can absolutely just change around just through pure FPS and intelligence. Cyber did.
And why is that the play of the game? Is because not just, hey, oh, you need to get like 5 kills in a row to make it really flashy and cool. No, it's because the flank came down at the right moment and got the kills that are oh so necessary to win what was probably the most important round in that entire game.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the first overtime round, so you want that round on your side because it puts pressure on your opponent, which, well, sure, Soniqs did come back on that round, but overall it's just so impressive the way that they play. And then Cyber, he has that extra spice on top too to hit those shots.
I love that when you put a little spice on top of things, Fabian. Let's go on and look at our bracket. Things have moved slightly this morning. Of course, we don't have a ton of games, but as you'll see, FaZe 2-0ing Soniqs. Both FaZe and Soniqs will be playing in the main event in Sao Paulo come this weekend. However, currently Dark Zero and Virtus.pro are tied 1-1, and it is a barn burner of a game, a classic NAEU, very tight. That is on Rainbow Six Bravo stream. You can watch it on there, and I hope that at least it comes out with one of the best games that we've had so far in the tournament, because I have to say, yesterday we had a lot of bangers with our elimination matches.
Yeah, we absolutely did. Elimination just adds that extra little bit of pressure to absolutely everything. The intensity that, for example, in the Liquid game, it's just the emotion that happened in there, that's what elimination's about.
You know, I love elimination, mostly just because I can see players cry, make my day better.
Wait, didn't you get a pity invite to an event?
Doesn't matter, I've still won 3 of them. How many have Team Liquid won? I don't remember.
Hey, remember where we are, buddy.
I've seen them cry more than I've seen them win.
Fair enough. Anyways, with that said, coming up is our halftime show. I'll tell you right now, for those that haven't subscribed, you have to right now and start asking questions, because Fabian and Pengu that'll be on here with me, and we all 3 old men will be asking, getting the questions to answer on here. So, see you in a moment.